Back in high school, the school belle confessed to me, but I rejected her flat out in front of everyone. I patted her head and said dismissively, "This part of yours is way too small. I prefer something a bit bigger." School belle immediately burst into tears, so I pulled out from my pocket a bottle of AD calcium milk and handed it to her. I heard drinking this helps you grow from head to toe. Hearing that, the school belle was furious and shouted right in my face, "Gu Chen, you just wait and see. Once I grow up, I'll show you exactly what I've got." I smiled back and said, "No need to be so polite." Unexpectedly, many years later, the school belle from back then suddenly became the CEO of our company. Gu Chen, Gu Chen. Stop sleeping, get to work. In a daze, I was woken up by a colleague. I slowly opened my eyes. Am I at the office? Wasn't I out meeting clients? Accidentally glancing at the date on the computer, I was stunned. Year 2024. I was supposed to be living in the year 2040. Only then did I realize I had been reborn. I was reborn as an employee of an internet company. I am only 18 years old right now. I must be doing an internship. Thinking back to my previous life, I didn't stay at this company for long before quitting to start my own business. Thanks to my intelligence and hard work, I made it onto the Forbes billionaire list before I was 30, becoming an international tycoon on par with Bill Gates. But then again, after becoming famous, I didn't feel as happy as I had imagined. Burying myself in work every day, I only got 3 hours of sleep. My body had long been severely exhausted. On the contrary, I really envied those with office jobs, who often had time to spend with their wives and children. Now that I have a chance to start over, I decided to live as a salted fish with no ambitions. This company is actually quite good. Full insurance and benefits, free lunch, and all kinds of perks. I glanced around and decided to finish today's work first. At that moment, the colleague next to me said with a mysterious look, "Did you hear the news? A new female CEO is arriving at the company today. I heard she's quite the ice beauty too. In my past life, this was the day I quit, so I never knew what she looked like. Since I'm staying today, I can witness her arrival firsthand. But I wasn't really that interested. I muttered to myself and continued working. My job is content moderation, checking if videos posted on the platform violate regulations, or if they are vulgar. With one hand on the mouse, I started a new workday. An hour later, a slender, charming figure walked through the main door. Her cold, beautiful eyes swept across, observing all the employees on the floor. A delicate, refined face that only made her more lovely. Almost all the employees looked up at the new CEO. Only I kept my head down, focused on my own work. Her gaze was gradually drawn to me. But when she clearly saw my profile, her cold eyes suddenly softened. Her long eyelashes flickered, looking a bit dazed and adorable. A moment later, she snapped out of it. I also felt someone staring at me from behind, so I turned my head to look. When I saw the CEO's face, I froze instantly. It wasn't because I was overwhelmed by her exquisite beauty, but because I recognized this CEO. It was Liu Ruyan, the one who confessed to me in high school and got rejected. Knowing the truth, I stood there frozen. I secretly prayed she wouldn't recognize me. After all, if I'm hated by the company's CEO, then my life is definitely over. Just as my mind was racing, a fresh, refreshing scent suddenly wafted past my nose. However, because I was so focused on moderating videos, I didn't notice someone walking right past me. At this moment, Liu Ruyan stared at my back, the corners of her mouth curling up uncontrollably. "Let's see where you can run this time." After returning to the CEO's office, Liu Ruyan flopped onto the sofa, unable to help letting out a sigh. Phew, being a CEO is really exhausting. She's only 18, yet she has to handle a position meant for a 40-year-old man. Thinking of this, Liu Ruyan kicked off her high heels comfortably. Then she secretly pulled a lollipop from her pocket, unwrapped it, and put it in her mouth, looking just like a child. At that moment, she recalled an embarrassing memory from high school. That year, she had a secret crush on a boy, and she had spent a lot of time calculating how to confess her feelings to him. Although that boy's grades weren't particularly outstanding, he was incredibly handsome. She remembered it was a sunny early morning. She saw the warm sunbeams gently shining on his fair side profile. That dazzlingly radiant beauty made Liu Ruyan's heart skip a beat. It was because of that crush that her school ranking in 11th grade jumped from second place to the top spot. Yet that boy still politely turned her down. Of course, she knew he did it for her own good. Now they meet again, and in such a special way. Liu Ruyan gradually recalled their past together, her small face flushing red in an instant. Just as she was reminiscing over every high school memory, the secretary suddenly pushed the door open and entered. Startled, she quickly sat up straight, slipped into her heels, and regained her dignified, cold CEO demeanor. "President Yi, what's wrong? Do you have a fever?" "No, I'm fine." Next time, remember to knock before entering. Then Liu Ruyan suddenly remembered something. She pointed her fair finger through the glass window and softly asked the secretary, "By the way, what is that boy's name outside?" The secretary looked in the direction she pointed. "His name is Gu Chen. He's a new video content moderator. Although he's only been here for half a month, his work attitude is very serious." The secretary then placed the thick pile of documents down. "These are the documents from the administration, finance, and operations departments that you requested. Please take a look." Even though these documents were requested by Liu Ruyan herself, because of Gu Chen's presence, she only gave them a casual glance. "No need, I already understand the company's situation. I want all information on Gu Chen within 2 minutes." The secretary looked stunned after hearing that, as if she had just heard something unbelievable. Meanwhile, outside the office, after a busy morning, I couldn't help but stretch. Just as I was letting out a long yawn, a charming figure suddenly walked out from the CEO's office. Fair, long legs that looked like they were 6 feet long, striding in dazzling high heels. A sophisticated and simple suit accentuated her seductive figure. She was like the most vibrant scenery in this office. She held a cartoonish water cup and walked to the dispenser to get warm water. Quite a few colleagues saw this and showed looks of both admiration and curiosity. "Wow, the CEO's cup is so exquisite. Doesn't the CEO have her own water dispenser in her office? Why does she have to come all the way out here for water? Maybe her machine is broken." Looking at that beautiful figure, I couldn't help but mutter to myself, surely she didn't recognize me, right? As for why she was using the common water dispenser, I didn't really care. Instead, I happily lowered my head and continued typing. However, I didn't realize that Liu Ruyan's eyes were constantly following me. The video moderation work here isn't actually boring. Among the videos recommended by the company, there are always some very novel things. For example, there's a guy performing an eating show with canned peaches, making cringeworthy, coquettish sounds after eating. Seeing this, my face showed clear disdain, and I decisively clicked to delete it. Next was a video of a girl in black stockings, performing a flexible bending movement. Her flirtatious moves were way too obvious. Perverts would probably love this kind of video. Should I limit its reach or just delete it? Just as I was seriously considering what to do, an alluring, fresh scent suddenly drifted from behind. Immediately after, a soft, small chin of a beautiful young woman gently rested on my shoulder. Then she opened her cherry-red lips and breathed a soft, warm air into my ear. "It seems you're very focused, aren't you?" The puff of fragrance by my ear made me freeze. Turning my head, I realized it was Liu Ruyan. She had sneaked up behind me without me noticing. Looking at her delicate, refined face at such close range, I suddenly felt extremely nervous. Getting caught red-handed watching this kind of video, my reputation is basically ruined from now on. But putting that aside, appearing behind me so suddenly like that, doesn't she feel like she's also in the wrong? I have to admit her side profile is truly beautiful. If it were any normal man, they probably couldn't have resisted wanting to give her a kiss. Wait, what on earth am I daydreaming about? Thinking of this, I quickly pulled my thoughts back and recalled what Liu Ruyan just said. It seemed like she was being jealous. There's no way. Forget it, just forget it. Let me answer her first. Don't misunderstand. As moderators, we need to examine every video thoroughly. That's my professional responsibility. I offered a reason that I thought was extremely logical, to deal with Liu Ruyan. Hearing that, she tilted her head slightly, her lively eyes staring into my evasive gaze. "Humph, you scumbag." Being stared at like that by Liu Ruyan made my skin crawl, so I quickly said I still had a lot of work to do. I just hoped she would leave my sight immediately. After all, if she keeps staring like this, she'll easily recognize me as her old high school classmate. But Liu Ruyan didn't leave after hearing that. On the contrary, the smile on her lips grew even brighter. Faint dimples appeared on her blushing cheeks. "Playing hard to get, huh? Hee hee. You look very familiar to me. Seems like we've met somewhere before, right?" Seeing this, I froze instantly and scrambled to find any excuse. "Ha ha ha. Everyone says I'm as handsome as Daniel Wu, so it's normal for you to think I look familiar." Hearing that nonsense excuse of mine, Liu Ruyan couldn't help but laugh out loud. "Classmate Gu, you really are quite humorous. Even though I'm definitely handsome, using that as a reason is way too forced. Since graduation, this was the first time I'd seen Liu Ruyan. At 18, she not only had a delicate and elegant face, but also a sweet, childlike voice. Just her slight smile was enough to make anyone's heart race. That beautiful sight left me dazed for a few seconds. Snapping back, I tried one last struggle, hastily claiming that Liu Ruyan must have mistaken me for someone else. However, that didn't do a damn thing. Calling me classmate was a term from school days. It was her way of teasing me. Hearing that, Liu Ruyan immediately played along, acting bossy. "Humph, humph. How could I possibly be mistaken? You're the one who abandoned me back then, making me cry the whole night. I cried until both my eyes were swollen like this. You scumbag. Hearing that, my eyes widened in shock. Even though I had the experience of a 36-year-old man, I couldn't help but feel stunned. I immediately retorted, "Hey, don't talk nonsense like that in front of all these people." Seeing my aggrieved expression as I bit my tongue, Liu Ruyan playfully stuck out her tongue. Those words weren't entirely made up, of course. She just added some extra drama to them. Her main goal was to annoy me a bit. She spoke carelessly, but the colleagues eavesdropping nearby were stunned. Everyone wore looks of disbelief. Then, Liu Ruyan narrowed her eyes slightly, and a mischievous smile appeared on her lips. "Classmate Gu, the company has been very busy lately. For the sake of the company, would you mind working 1 extra hour of overtime?" Seeing that she was still teasing me, I could only cry to heaven, truly impressed. Is she starting to bully me now? Why does it have to be me who works overtime? Seeing my pained expression, Liu Ruyan curled her lips slightly, a faint pink flush appearing on her face. Then she asked again, "Are you happy? That way we can get off work together." After hearing that, I couldn't help but stare with wide eyes. Turned out she had it all planned out. Happy about what? I felt like I was about to be stalked by her. In terms of actual age, I'm already an uncle, so I have no interest in little girls like this. But I have to admit that young woman's smile was truly sweet. So sweet that even an uncle like me felt my heart melt. It wasn't such a big deal anyway, so I reluctantly nodded in agreement. Seeing that I agreed, Liu Ruyan returned to her office contentedly, just like the two of them in high school. Liu Ruyan still had deep feelings for me, and now she was no longer as shy as before. She had become incredibly brave. She secretly promised herself that she must seize the opportunity this time, completely conquer Gu Chen's heart. After Liu Ruyan left, I felt my head throbbing. Why did I get tangled up with this girl? I just wanted to be a salted fish. Why is it so hard? Before I could regain my composure, the colleagues around me started buzzing again. Am I seeing things? Didn't everyone say the new female CEO was an ice beauty? She looks clearly like a gentle girl next door to me. Wait, the CEO is never like that with us. I'm so jealous. I could die. Then the colleague next to me started teasing. Old Gu, you're really something. You even managed to charm the CEO. Teach me your ways when you have some free time. I gave him a burning glare, thinking to myself, it's simple really. You just need to be as handsome as me. Soon enough, the afternoon arrived. Exhausted from work, I looked up to see my coffee cup was empty. So I grabbed the cup and stood up to get another one. However, just as I was about to stand up, a pair of soft hands suddenly pressed down on my shoulders, forcing me back into my chair. A hand lightning fast snatched my cup. You sit down. Let me go make coffee for you. I was bewildered, wondering what was up with this intimate way of addressing me. But when I turned around, I was stunned to realize. Ruyan had appeared behind me like a ghost. Furthermore, a radiant smile was on her face, looking just like a lively girl next door. I was instantly dumbfounded. What the hell? It turns out she was behind me all along. I clearly remembered her being in her office. Was it because I was too focused on moderating videos that I didn't notice her sneaking up behind me? I'll do it myself. At this moment, I really didn't want to bother her at all, let alone get involved in these weird relationships. However, the cup I just took back was snatched by her once more. Hee hee, what's wrong with this? I'm the boss. Isn't it right for the boss to care about the employees? Looking at Liu Ruyan's innocent, radiant face, my face suddenly darkened. Then go care about someone else. Liu Ruyan gently patted my shoulder again. Only then did I feel a bit more at ease. Afterward, Liu Ruyan personally made a warm cup of coffee and leisurely brought it to me. I nodded contentedly as I took it. Thanks. CEO, please go back to your work. At this moment, I truly hoped that. Liu Ruyan had simply come to make a cup of coffee. However, reality is always harsh. I saw her suddenly pull up a small chair and sit down right next to me in a flash. Seeing that, I was completely speechless. But Liu Ruyan didn't seem to care about my feelings at all. Instead, she gave a shy smile. She blinked her captivatingly beautiful eyes. Your work must be very boring, isn't it? So let me keep you company here. At this moment, I was extremely shocked. Isn't she just looking for an excuse to sit here and monitor me officially? But one must admit, those lively eyes made my heart flutter a bit. Now I can say for certain that Liu Ruyan absolutely doesn't hate me for being rejected in 11th grade. On the contrary, after I became her employee, she launched an even more frantic pursuit than before. The company's newly arrived haughty female CEO, to be able to look at me from up close, didn't hesitate to pull up a small chair and sit right next to me, even using the excuse that she was afraid I'd be bored working. Actually, this work is extremely interesting to me. I don't find it boring at all. Despite my best efforts to explain, Liu Ruyan still refused to leave. She was just like a stubborn kitten that never backs down. Every now and then, the surrounding colleagues looked up, looks of envy clear on all their faces. That Guchen guy is such a dry man. How can he be so lacking in tact? The CEO clearly likes him that much. Yet why doesn't he seem to notice anything? If it were me, I would have agreed long ago. On my end, I continued working with the mouse, while Liu Ruyan quietly sat beside me, keeping me company. I don't know how long it passed, until she finally couldn't stand the silence and spoke. Guchen, can we chat a bit while we work? Can you not call me by that name? I felt completely helpless. She thought for a moment, then smiled radiantly. Then should I call you Boo-Boo or Little Guchen? Finally, I had to give in. Fine, just call me Guchen. Liu Ruyan nodded in agreement. She licked her lips slightly, her beautiful eyes blinking, glancing around. She rested her chin on both hands and began reminiscing about the old days by herself. Guchen, do you still remember our high school days? I still remember it very clearly. Back then, I absolutely loved watching you play basketball. Especially when you did that one-handed dunk. You were truly super handsome. Being directly praised like that by a beautiful young woman, I couldn't help but feel a bit of excitement in my heart. I still remember one time during PE class. It was an incredibly hot day. You were playing basketball until you were drenched in sweat. So many girls were screaming and cheering for you then. You jumped so high and dumped the ball, finishing with a landing on one knee. That whole sequence of smooth moves was absolutely flawless. I could only give a forced laugh. Haha, it was nothing much. Just normal, ranked third in the world, no big deal. Also, Guchen, I think you're such a kind-hearted person. Every day after school, I saw you bringing food to the little stray dogs on the street. Liu Ruyan naturally loved warm and compassionate boys. So, from the first time she saw that scene, she was instantly mesmerized and couldn't pull herself away. But this only made me feel more awkward. Thinking back to feeding those stray dogs then, it still annoyed me to no end. Truth is, back in 11th grade, there was a very aggressive stray dog. Every time I got out of school, it would chase me and growl. If I didn't feed it, it would just keep following me forever. One time, it even chased me all the way to my front door. That's why it happened. That every day on my way home, I had to bring food for that stray dog. What on earth is there to be proud of in this nonsense? Why did I become such a passionate animal lover in her eyes? We chatted for a while longer. Liu Ruyan suddenly remembered something and spoke in a low voice. Guchen, tell me quietly, is there any girl here that caught your eye? I can help you confess to her. She acted as if she were concerned for me, but her tone reeked of jealousy. I cast a searching glance over her. I didn't believe that nonsense at all. If I actually told her that there was someone I liked here, that person would definitely be transferred elsewhere by the next day. However, I still gave a mischievous smile. Yes, there is. Oh? Liu Ruyan had originally just intended to test the waters, but she didn't expect me to answer so suggestively. So her expression changed immediately, flaring up in anger, showing her teeth and claws. Who is it? Looking at Liu Ruyan's panicked and urgent state, I secretly laughed because she had completely fallen for my teasing. Her small face pouted in anger. Humph. I'm just not going to tell you, guess for yourself. Hearing that, she was just like a kitten with its fur standing on end. Humph. If you won't say, then fine, I don't care. Bleh bleh bleh, Liu Ruyan stuck her tongue out back at me in a huff. But secretly, she etched this matter into her heart. She would definitely investigate everything when she got back, to see who dared to seduce her man. Should surely transfer that person to a remote branch to teach them a lesson. Some more time passed. I was still clicking the mouse. Suddenly, I saw Liu Ruyan move her chair forward slightly. Her slender figure gradually edged closer to me. Hey, what are you doing? I was a bit bewildered. Was she about to launch an even more aggressive attack? I definitely wouldn't let her achieve her goal. However, Liu Ruyan only gave a sweet smile. The scent of cherry blossoms on you is so fragrant. After saying that, she leaned her head in close and took a deep breath right against my lapel. My head was suddenly filled with dark lines. It's obvious she's just looking for an excuse to get close to me. How could she use such a lame excuse? Of course, I didn't put on any cologne. But I really do have a very distinct masculine scent. Liu Ruyan just stayed like that, just sitting there beside me, moderating short videos together. From that, she even discovered a few minor system bugs. If we fix these properly, we can make the short videos more refined and higher quality. Gradually, she started to feel sleepy. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw her slowly leaning to one side. The other side of the desk was empty with nothing to support her. I was worried that porcelain white face would slam hard against the desk, so I instinctively reached out my hand and placed it right under her cheek. I carefully observed her expression for a moment. She was moving around so much just now. Is she pretending to sleep now? However, just a few seconds later, I dismissed that thought. Liu Ruyan definitely wasn't faking it. She was fast asleep, looking incredibly silly. She was even drooling from the corner of her mouth. If anyone else saw the lady's CEO like this, her career would probably be over. But that innocent face of hers while sleeping, it's actually quite adorable. It makes me feel like I can't bear to wake her up. A while later, she shifted slightly. Her little head just leaned right toward me. This is completely blocking my hand from moving the mouse. I'm really wondering, her office is so big and spacious. Why didn't she go back there to sleep? Does sleeping next to me make her dreams sweeter? Even so, I just smiled faintly and proactively moved the computer a bit to the left to give her plenty of room. Gradually, I started to hear her sweet sleep talking. Guchen, this time, you're not allowed to like other girls. Can you please stop rejecting me? Though the voice in the dream was a bit vague, if you listen closely, you could still recognize it clearly. I smiled, not taking it too seriously. I didn't agree, but I didn't deny it either. Waiting until Liu Rian woke up, she twisted her slender waist and stretched. Only then did she realize. Because her sleeping position was so wild. She had encroached and pushed the man she loved into the corner. Guchen, I'm sorry. It's okay. Looking at her bowing her head in apology, I curled my lips into a smile. She really is adorable in a very special way. Liu Ruyan obediently rubbed her sleepy eyes. Then she giggled and quickly left. With you by my side, this sleep was truly so sweet. After she left, I moved the computer back and continued working. Time flew and soon it was 5 p.m. Because I had to work overtime, most of the colleagues around me had already gone home. Only a friend named Zhang Wei remained. He patted my shoulder with a knowing look. Hey buddy, you're still young. When you get a good opportunity, you have to know how to grab it. Be a bit proactive and you won't have to struggle for the rest of your life. I looked at his mischievous grin and felt completely helpless. What on earth is this? I'm not interested in being a kept man. Youth truly doesn't know the bliss of a rich lady's favor. Zhang Wei saw that I was being stubborn and not listening, so he just shook his head in frustration. Some more time passed. The whole company was now just me. I glanced at the clock. It was almost 6 p.m. Quickly seized the moment, stood up and closed my laptop, ready to make a quick exit. As long as I run fast enough, love will never catch up to me. Besides, I have things to do at home. It's been ages since I properly played games. I walked quickly toward the door, just as I was about to breathe a sigh of relief. But at that very moment, a small pale hand like a ghost silently rested on my shoulder. I jumped in fright. This familiar feeling. Gu Chen, why are you in such a hurry? Are you intentionally trying to avoid me? A sweet, slightly sulky voice whispered in my ear. I turned around and realized Liu Ruyan had appeared behind me out of nowhere. She was tilting her little head, staring at me. Heavens, no wonder I didn't see her in the office. She was standing here waiting to ambush me. I feigned a shiver, then came up with a trivial excuse to bail. I've got things to do at home. Hearing this excuse, Liu Ruyan was both annoyed and amused, but she managed to hold it back. She gracefully laced her hands behind her back. Eyes full of laughter, she tiptoed closer to me. I thought she was going to do something to me. So I quickly dodged to the side. What are you trying to do? Liu Ruyan smiled faintly. It's after work now. It's quiet here, no one's around, and no cameras. Between the two of us, should we do something? I was genuinely shocked. These words, shouldn't they be coming from a man's mouth? I admit that being teased by such a top-tier beauty, my heart really skipped a beat, but I still maintained my professional ethics. Seeing me recoil defensively, Liu Ruyan smiled triumphantly. I was just teasing you. Work's over, let's go. She playfully stuck her tongue out. Seeing that, I finally dared to wipe the sweat from my brow. Gu Chen, were you happy today? Are you taking the bus home? Where do you live? Hearing her chirp questions incessantly behind me, I could only sigh in resignation. I'm riding my bike. It's getting late. You should head home too. Liu Ruyan suddenly stopped in her tracks. She clasped her small hands in front of her, looking a bit hesitant and shy. The thing is, my car ran out of gas. So could I bother Gu Chen to give me a ride home? Huh. My face was full of suspicion. How is that possible? I clearly saw you driving earlier. I looked her straight in the eyes, wanting to expose her little scheme. But unfortunately, she maintained a very apologetic face. Gu Chen, if you don't believe me, let's go check. Stop acting cute. I finally couldn't take it anymore, immediately stopping her intentional attempts to be adorable. Otherwise, my whole being was going to melt. Liu Ruyan immediately looked very aggrieved after hearing that, Then I followed her to a pink Maserati Quattroporte. I had to see for myself how much gas was left, but when I looked, I discovered there truly wasn't a single bar left. Liu Ruyan stood nearby, sighing in disappointment. Oh dear. My second wife has been a real gas guzzler lately. I only drove for a bit and it's bone dry. Black lines began to appear on my forehead. No wonder I saw her drive off for a lap earlier. She definitely drove around aimlessly to burn every drop, just so she could come back here with an empty tank, right? That's definitely it. Otherwise, how could it be such a coincidence? To get me to take her home. She really put a lot of effort into it. Finally, under my intense gaze, Liu Ruyan's eyes started to wander. Then you can take a taxi home, or call someone else to pick you up. I wasn't about to fall for her trick. Giving her a ride home should surely pull some stunts along the way. I turned to walk away. Liu Ruyan immediately grabbed onto my arm, sobbing, sob, sob, sob. Gu Chen, how could you leave a girl like me to take a taxi home alone in the dead of night? That's so cruel. Heavens, seeing she's been exposed, she starts playing the acting cute card. She was like a piece of sticky malt candy, impossible to peel off. But then again, actually, I also didn't feel comfortable letting her take a taxi home alone at all. After all, she's only 18 and so innocent and beautiful. Finally, I really couldn't withstand her cute attack. So I nodded in agreement. She didn't just hold my hand and shake it, but also pressed her little face against my arm, rubbing it back and forth. She's truly adorable beyond compare. Probably even a cold, straight guy would melt before her. But is she really okay with me taking her home? By the way, I don't think you can carry passengers on a bike. I heard you get fined if you're caught. So that's what you're worried about. Gu Chen, you think I care about a little fine? Liu Ruyan puffed her cheeks out again, looking extremely cute. I felt a bit helpless. It's true. A fine to her is really nothing at all. I heard they impound the vehicle if caught, too. This sentence seemed to have some effect. She let go of the small hands clinging to me, put a finger to her chin, and started thinking seriously. Finally, she pursed her lip before making a decision. If a traffic officer catches, then you just run ahead. I'll stay behind to block them. Don't worry about me. Listening to her, I immediately looked at her like she was an idiot. Sounds very heroic. But if we actually got pulled over, I absolutely couldn't leave her alone. But suddenly I thought of a new problem. But I live near the university village. We're not going the same way. That's such a coincidence. I told you we were meant to be. I happen to live in the university village too, my goodness. So my last ray of hope was extinguished. Actually, there are many ways to discourage her. But I can never wake a girl who's pretending to be asleep. Then I went over to the motorbike. Standing by the bike, Liu Ruyan gave me a slightly sulky glance. I admit, the bicycle thing was a lie I told to try and escape her. But electric motorbikes are also clearly regulated against carrying passengers. After getting on, I held the handlebars steady, while Liu Ruyan sat gently sideways in the back. A handsome young man along with top-tier beauty sitting together on an e-bike. The sight of them appearing in the same frame immediately attracted many glances from passers-by. The bike started rolling. Liu Ruyan wrapped both arms tightly around me, her little face pressed against my back, refusing to let go. Ever since high school, she had always looked forward to hugging the person she loves like this, but only now did it come true. This filled Liu Ruyan's face with a happy smile. A few minutes later, the two of them approached the university village area. Bustling night market nearby completely caught Liu Ruyan's attention. Right then, her stomach also started growling with hunger. Gu Chen, the street stalls here are so lively. Can we stop for a bite before going home? I'm absolutely starving. No, right now I just want to get home and play games. I didn't want to go with her at all. How could having a girlfriend be as fun as gaming? Besides, I don't even need a girlfriend, so I don't need to baby her. No fair, Gu Chen. My stomach is empty. You must be hungry too, right? Let's go eat together, please. Quickly, she started acting up from behind again, gently shaking me. That coquettish voice kept echoing, making my heart flutter. I have to admit one thing. Even I find it hard to resist a beautiful girl acting cute. Finally, I steered the bike right into the night market of the university village. Soon enough, I had finished parking. Liu Ruyan muttered as she climbed off the bike. Ouch. My butt is totally numb. I rolled my eyes slightly. It's not like I forced you to sit there. The night breeze was a bit chilly. A soft gust blew past. Liu Ruyan, walking beside me, suddenly shivered and hunched her shoulders. I noticed this small detail, so I took off my jacket and draped it over her shoulders. Liu Ruyan looked at the jacket, her eyes bright with surprise. Oh, Gu Chen, why are you suddenly being so nice to me? But I just casually replied, because I was too hot. If you don't like it, give it back. But Liu Ruyan was now like a little cat protecting its food. She quickly grabbed the two lapels, refusing to let me take it back. Who said I don't need it? Since it's on me, and not giving it back. She winked playfully, but inside, she was secretly overjoyed. Looking at her expression, I thought she was truly explosive with cuteness. I really just wanted to grab her and spin her around. A while later, the two of them entered the food street. The place was a literal sea of people. It truly was a paradise for foodies. Grilled skewers, milk tea, stir-fried noodles, they had everything. Whoa, it's stinky tofu. Gu Chen, I really want to eat some. Can you buy some for me? I turned and glared at her. Hey, sister, you haven't even paid me this month's salary yet. Actually, stinky tofu doesn't cost much, but I wouldn't just because of one sentence from her. Hurry up and buy it for her. Must absolutely not spoil her too much. Is that so? Liu Ruyan was a bit puzzled. Unexpectedly, because of this small issue, I refused to buy it for her. So she pulled out her phone and tapped the screen a few times. I watched her action before I could stop her. I suddenly received a notification of money in my account. Alipay has received 1 million yuan. I only intended to help the lady CEO buy a portion of stinky tofu, yet she transferred money to me right on the spot. Hearing the sound of receiving 1 million yuan, looking at the huge sum of money just transferred to my phone, I thought for a moment, I definitely have to transfer this money back later, otherwise she'll probably make more excessive demands. Liu Ruyan stood nearby rubbing her small hands, licking her lips greedily, patiently waiting for the stinky tofu to be taken out of the oven. I asked curiously, I really didn't expect a wealthy young lady like you to also like things like stinky tofu. Liu Ruyan immediately winked flirtatiously at me. Of course, all my friends like eating it. Though my parents always say these street stalls aren't clean, so they don't let me eat random stuff. But as long as I don't tell them after eating, it's fine. That's right, Gu Chen. This is our secret. You absolutely must not tell my secretary. All right, I won't tell. But in my heart, I thought, usually people who know too many of the boss' secrets often don't have a good ending. Soon, the fragrant batch of stinky tofu was ready. Liu Ruyan took the small bowl, immediately used the toothpick to skewer a piece, put it into her small red mouth, chewing each small bite, making sounds of pure enjoyment. So delicious! Gu Chen, why aren't you eating? She suddenly realized that I had been staring at her all along. She was a bit embarrassed. I gave a slight "oh," then also took a piece and put it in my mouth. The flavor is clearly quite good, but it still can't be as good as the stall at the school gate back then. So after eating a few pieces, I gave the rest to Liu Ruyan. Liu Ruyan, full of heart, joyfully finished piece after piece. Suddenly she exclaimed, "Ah!" I quickly turned around to check. It turned out to be a drop of oil, accidentally falling on her white, naked legs. The stickiness made her a bit uncomfortable. Liu Ruyan blinked her sparkling eyes at me. Gu Chen, can you help me wipe the oil off my leg? This isn't very good. Don't you have hands too? Wipe it yourself. I maintain the principle of propriety between men and women. Decisively refused. At this, Liu Ruyan's face immediately became full of grievance. Look, my hands are carrying so many things. I turned back to look. Indeed, both her hands were carrying a lot of things. This girl was really good at shopping. Helplessly, I just pulled out some tissues. Liu Ruyan's legs were completely uncovered, looking extremely white and smooth. The leg proportions were even more beyond reproach. I didn't even have time to pay attention and look carefully, but immediately used tissues to help her wipe. At the very moment I just touched her, I felt Liu Ruyan's body, seemingly like an electric shock, trembled slightly. After finishing wiping clean, I looked up to see her blushing face buried deep into her collar. It's true that shopping with a girl is a headache, but there's no other way. Who told her to be the boss anyway? Along the way, she bought more flour sausages, grilled pork knuckles, fried yogurt, crayfish, and a bunch of other hot trend snacks. I also started carrying things for her, so Liu Ruyan could have her hands free to eat. Of course, she didn't forget to reward me a little. She held up a sausage she had just bitten and brought it right to my mouth. The bite mark still had a bit of her bright red lipstick. I slightly shook my head in refusal. If I eat this, wouldn't it be an indirect kiss? I won't fall for her trick. By the time all the food was finished, it was already 8:30 p.m. Still not completely satisfied. So Liu Ruyan ordered 2 more pearl milk teas. Through this time, I just realized that girls can really eat a lot. Yet clearly her waist is still so slender. No matter how much she eats, her belly doesn't protrude at all. No wonder in just a few years she's grown so much. Liu Ruyan held the milk teacup with both hands. Her little mouth just kept sucking, looking as adorable as a hamster. Suddenly, Her eyes suddenly caught sight of a couple not far away. They were interlocking arms like drinking nuptial wine. To drink each other's milk teacup together. It looked extremely sweet. Gu-chen, look at that couple. So sweet. Let's do like them, drinking milk tea in a nuptial style. Can we please? She was like a little cat, just clinging to my arm and pleading. You also said that's something only couples in love do. I don't have time for those games. I won't keep spoiling her like that. This time, no matter what is said, I absolutely won't agree. It was originally just going to eat a meal. Why has it progressed to this point? If you keep acting like this forever, you'll never find a girlfriend in your whole life. She angrily stomped her feet in place. Her angry look was extremely adorable. Finally, the more she thought, the angrier she got, and used her tiny fist to lightly punch my chest, then turned around laughing while running away. I felt that punch as light as cotton. Who has spoiled her so much like this? Every little thing, and she dares to punch me like this. Little did I know Liu Ruyan had just turned away when she was tripped by a stone. Her whole body tilted forward, clearly about to have a face-to-ground moment. I was quick with my hands and eyes, immediately wrapped my arms around her waist and used force to pull her back. So her small figure tumbled and landed squarely in my chest. Ah, you scare me to death. That scene just now indeed made her a bit terrified. Her breath became rapid, her chest heaving. When she regained her composure, she realized her waist was being held tightly, and her whole body was also nestled in my arms. Immediately after, her small face turned as red as a ripe fruit, hurriedly uttering a thank you. Having said that, she tried even harder to bury her small face deeper into my chest, inhaling the cherry blossom scent on my body. Hey, Liu Ruyan, what are you doing? Let me hug you for a little longer, please. No, this hugging is improper. Let go. Sigh, she's taken advantage of me again. I won't let go. She playfully stuck her tongue out at me. By the time we were full and preparing to leave, suddenly a heavy rain fell here. Liu Ruyan quickly grabbed my hand tightly. Running together towards the garage, before even arriving, the rain started pouring down like a waterfall. Helplessly, the two of them just had to find a place to seek shelter from the rain first. Gu-chen here, we can take shelter here. Liu Ruyan discovered a small porch, but this place was only enough for one person. The wind blew hard, Liu Ruyan's hair was all wet. Yet she didn't mind at all, even gave an order. Quickly squat down. Squat down? I didn't know what she was up to, so I just had to follow. I saw Liu Ruyan start to unbutton her shirt. I panicked, instinctively reaching out to stop her. Wait a minute, what are you planning to do? I'm not that kind of casual guy, you know. What are you thinking? You shameless person. Next, she stood up and spread out the jacket she just took off, using it like a large umbrella to shelter me from the rain. Her face was filled with a proud smile. Hee, now you won't get wet anymore. But Liu Ruyan herself was still standing there in the rain. I felt truly moved. As soon as I was about to stand up, Liu Ruyan used her elbow to pin me down. Don't stand up. What if you catch a cold from being in the rain? If you take a day off tomorrow and don't go to work, then I won't be able to see you anymore. And from now on, every day you're absent, I'll deduct your entire half-month's bonus. Liu Ruyan just made up some random excuses like that. So Liu Ruyan was having such adorable schemes. Hearing her words, I had no choice but to crouch down. Sheltered by her, to be honest, I didn't get hit by a single drop of rain. The rain came quickly and left just as fast. After the rain stopped, I hurriedly stood up and gave her a helpless look. Then I took the initiative to hold her small, still wet hand and walked toward the electric bike shed. I'm taking you home now. You must take a shower immediately when we get home. Did you hear that? Liu Ruyan felt her whole body go cold, her shoulders trembling slightly. She mumbled, Gu-chen, I'm so cold. Could you give me a hug? I glanced at her and gently stroked her head. I reached out and held her gently. Liu Ruyan felt the warmth from my body, and she immediately felt much less cold. She leaned into my chest and slowly looked up at me. I also looked down at her face. Our eyes met for a moment. Finally, she pleaded in a weak voice, Gu-chen, could you reward me just once? This soft and coquettish voice was like an effective anesthetic, causing my mind to nod involuntarily. I slowly lowered my face. Liu Ruyan also cooperatively stood on her tiptoes, but just at the moment when something wonderful was about to happen, an accident occurred. Because we were so focused on hugging each other, we didn't notice. Our center of gravity shifted to the right, immediately followed by a thud. I unfortunately tumbled to the ground. Oh no, Gu-chen, I'm sorry. I was so careless. Are you hurt? Ah, Gu-chen, you're bleeding. I'll call for emergency help right now. Liu Ruyan was in a panic, trying to use her phone to call an ambulance while speaking, so I hurriedly stopped her. Hey, Liu Ruyan, I'm not some big star. A small wound like this doesn't need a hospital visit. I can handle it myself. No way. How can you not go to the hospital when you're bleeding like this? Don't move, the ambulance is coming. Her tone was very firm and overbearing. At this point, Liu Ruyan wouldn't listen to any reasoning. But this way, she looked even more like a true overbearing female CEO, though her voice remained soft and her expression was sorrowful. Not long after, the ambulance arrived. When they saw my bleeding wound, the doctors all used unbelieving looks to gaze at me and Liu Ruyan. Calling an ambulance for such a tiny scratch? Feeling their eyes on me, I embarrassedly covered my face with my hand. I later turned out this hospital was actually owned by the Liu family group, so they had no choice but to indulge the eldest miss. About an hour and a half later, the doctor finished treating my wound and told me to lie still and rest. Liu Ruyan used the private bathroom to wash up and quickly change into clean clothes. She tirelessly stayed by my side asking, "Guchen, want some medicine? Are you thirsty? Want some water? Want an apple? Are you cold? Please pay some attention to me." Feeling her concern, I couldn't help but smile. All right, that's enough. You should get some rest. Only then did she finally sit down, obediently waiting for my decision. I didn't want to stay in the hospital, just because of this minor injury. So I said to Liu Ruyan, the wound is bandaged. I want to be discharged. No, what if you bump into something outside? What if the wound reopens? What if it gets infected after opening, and your leg gets paralyzed and has to be amputated? That would be a huge loss. So stay in the hospital and recover well. Liu Ruyan immediately used her cute pouting way to stop me. At first, I didn't think much of it, but after hearing her warnings for a while, I actually felt a bit scared now. Liu Ruyan really knows how to comfort someone. Why do I feel like she's cursing me? The atmosphere became quiet. Liu Ruyan looked at my face, recalling the moment from earlier. We were clearly just a bit away from kissing. What a pity. At this moment, neither of us could bear to speak first. Finally, after 5 minutes, she spoke first, Guchen. I've spoken to management. You don't have to go to work tomorrow. Just stay here and rest well. It's getting late. Maybe we should sleep. I glanced at her, but I couldn't sleep. Who would feel like sleeping in this environment? So Liu Ruyan came up with a new trick. Then let me tell you a fairy tale. Just as I was about to refuse, she naturally looked at her phone and mumbled, "Once upon a time there was a sleeping beauty." That story is ages old. Seeing that I seemed unhappy, she smartly switched to another story immediately, Snow White and the Seven Dwarves. My face darkened. Can't you find a newer story? Liu Ruyan then proceeded to tell 5 stories in a row. I wasn't even asleep yet, but she herself had already collapsed. Half asleep, her beautiful eyes could no longer stay open as she slumped her head on the edge of the bed. A few minutes later, Liu Ruyan was fast asleep. She was truly exhausted, having worked all day and still staying here to care for me until 11 p.m. Seeing her sleeping in a very uncomfortable position, tossing and turning constantly. So I gently pulled back the blanket and got out of bed, walking behind her. With both hands gently around her slender waist, I slowly lifted her up. Finally, I laid her on the bed and pulled the blanket up to her chin. She must have been very tired. She didn't wake up at all despite being moved. At last, she drifted into a sweet dream. As for me, I gently stroked her head one last time, said goodnight, and turned to leave. The first ray of morning sunlight shone into the hospital room. Liu Ruyan curled up her beautiful body, slowly stretched and gradually sat up. She stretched like a little kitten that had just woken up. Once she realized this was a hospital room, she recalled the events of last night. Wait, the person supposed to be in the hospital bed wasn't me. It was supposed to be Gu Chen. How did I end up taking his bed? At this thought, she felt a bit self-reproachful, sensing the room was empty. She suddenly realized Gu Chen was gone. She hurriedly sprang up, searching under the bed and in the closet for a long time. But he was nowhere to be found. Just then, a nurse pushed the door open and entered. She immediately approached and asked, "Nurse, where is the patient who came with me yesterday?" "Him? He left last night. He really cares about you, though. He even told me not to disturb your sleep." Liu Ruyan's mind felt like it exploded at that, like a deflated balloon, as she slumped down on the bed. It turned out last night while she was fast asleep, Gu Chen had slipped away. She suddenly wanted to cry. Even with an injured leg, he insisted on leaving. For a moment, she thought Gu Chen didn't want her anymore. But then she suddenly remembered something, and her eyes suddenly lit up. She pulled herself together, hurriedly washed her face, grabbed her phone, and caught a ride straight to the office. After rushing to the office, when she saw that familiar silhouetted figure, she finally breathed a sigh of relief. Gu-chen had arrived, and very early at that. I like my current peaceful and regulated life, so I came early to moderate videos. The video being moderated showed a girl dancing. To ensure fairness in moderation, I specifically watched it over 20 times. Seeing this, Liu Ruyan felt a surge of jealousy. She quietly approached behind me, tending to give me a startle. But then she recalled that last night she seemed to have felt, the moment I gently carried her to the bed, so she slowly leaned down. Moi. While I was busy clicking the mouse, I suddenly felt a warm softness touch my cheek. A mischievous little girl had just kissed my cheek, quite loudly. I was stunned for a moment, and turned around to see it was her. I didn't expect Liu Ruyan to pull a sneak attack, secretly kissing me from behind. I immediately wiped the lipstick mark off my face. Liu Ruyan, what are you doing? There are so many people here. But Liu Ruyan just giggled. Giving you a morning kiss, of course. Her porcelain doll face was full of life, and her smile was mesmerizingly beautiful, waking up even the sleepiest employees. Doesn't Gu-chen like it? She tilted her head, looking at me with a grievance. Like at my foot. My face turned red with anger, leaving me momentarily speechless. This scene gave the company's singles quite a shock, followed by endless admiration. Everyone was gossiping that I'm a steel-straight man. At this, Liu Ruyan blushed, and quickly walked into her office. I'm truly at my wit's end with her. Who told her to be the boss? Liu Ruyan sat down, and after a few minutes regained her composure to start working. She asked the secretary, are there any unresolved issues in the company lately? CEO, the company has an upcoming video promotion. We've found enough female models, but we're currently in urgent need of a male model. A male model? The ones found previously either didn't fit or have fallen ill. CEO, do you know anyone suitable? The secretary asked casually. Liu Ruyan pondered for a moment after hearing this. Then her eyes suddenly lit up as she looked out the glass door. In the blink of an eye, it was lunchtime, and all the office foodies, like unbridled horses, rushed toward the cafeteria. Only I was still moderating the last video. Finally finishing the review, I stood up to go get lunch. Nyungvu Moidunge. I was gently pressed back down, a pair of small, fair hands. I was stunned. This familiar script again, the same old trick. Turning around, I surely saw Liu Ruyan's heart-melting smile. Good heavens, when did she sneak up behind me this time? Does she know teleportation? I want to go eat. Don't pull me. You can't just make the ox work without letting it graze. I spoke sternly, and she burst out laughing. You don't need to go to the cafeteria today. I've specially prepared a love bento for you. The taste is guaranteed to be absolutely amazing. After saying that, she placed the prepared lunchbox onto my desk. I took a closer look, and it was even a pink lunchbox, really very masculine. Inside the transparent bag, the colors of the food were very eye-catching, looking quite appetizing at first glance, but in my heart still had a vague sense of unease. Forget it, since you went through the trouble of making it, you should eat it yourself. I tried to slip away again, but like a mischievous child, she spread her arms to block me. No way. This is the result of me commandeering the kitchen all morning. It took 3 hours to finish. No matter what, you have to eat every bit of it today. I sighed inwardly. Being pampered really spoils someone. I'm just not going to eat it. Let's see what you can do to me. Seeing that the firm approach wasn't working, she quickly changed tactics and started using softness. Mr. Gu, at least try a bite. Following through, she wrapped both arms around me, acting cute while leaning into my chest, and step by step forced me back toward the chair. I was also utterly helpless, because I realized that whenever Liu Ruyan acts coquettish, my body involuntarily softens. There must be a problem somewhere. I probably need a hospital checkup. Could it be a case of being weak to those who act cute? Seeing that I had sat down, she giggled, come on, try a bite. No, this is my final stand. Suddenly, Liu Ruyan's eyes darted around as she smirked mischievously. Humph, if you don't eat, I'll give you a kiss, until you're willing to eat. She moved her red lips toward me, and I quickly interjected, I was wrong. I'll eat, okay? Seeing those cherry lips about to attack, I surrendered immediately, wondering what karma I accumulated in my past life to suffer such inhuman torment now. Even though she successfully coaxed me, she didn't expect me to actually reject her lips, causing her to huff with her hands on her hips. Gu-chen, you dummy. Something others couldn't get in a lifetime, yet he doesn't want it. Really hate this. I sat down and opened the lunchbox, the exquisite presentation catching my eye, especially the heart-shaped fried egg in the middle. It was clear she had put her heart into it. Under the egg was beef, sweet and sour pork with pineapple, kung pao chicken, and many other dishes. Counting them up, there were 11 dishes in total, with rice and various fruits underneath. This isn't a lunchbox. This damn thing is clearly a royal feast. Liu Ruyan stood waiting by my side, with an expectant face. I picked up a fork, speared a piece of chicken, and popped it into my mouth. Well, is it good? Liu Ruyan asked impatiently. I looked into her eyes, chewed carefully for a while, and then calmly asked, "Did you forget to add salt?" Liu Ruyan's little face showed a hint of disappointment, as she fidgeted with her hands, immaturely clumsy, so I didn't dare use too much salt. This self-reproachful look of hers unintentionally added several degrees of cuteness. Suddenly, the kung pao chicken in my mouth turned sweet. Is it really that bad? Forget it, don't eat this anymore. Let's go to the cafeteria. She was a bit sad, reaching out with her small hand to take the tray back. I smiled slightly, reaching out to stop her. It's fine. It's not that bad. I can still eat it. Actually, I was lying to her. Forgetting salt was a minor issue. The main thing was there were some very strange flavors in there. It could truly be called dark cuisine. But throwing it away would be such a waste of food. Then I hurriedly shoveled in the rice, trying to look like I was really enjoying it. Liu Ruyan's eyes overflowed with joy. If you like it, then I'll make it for you every day from now on. I couldn't help but spit it all out. No, that's not necessary. I waved my hands dismissively, but I couldn't bear to dampen her enthusiasm. Seeing me eat so heartily, Liu Ruyan suddenly felt an appetite too. She moved closer. Gu Chen. I want to eat too. Can you feed me? Hearing this, I rejoiced inwardly and proactively found a spoon for her. After all, I couldn't finish this much anyway. She immediately became unhappy. I don't want that. I want to use the fork too. Otherwise, I can just eat from your mouth. Haha, I flinched. She wanted an indirect kiss again, didn't she? So I immediately switched back to the fork and handed it to her. But she didn't take it right away, keeping her cherry mouth open. I want to be fed. I rolled my eyes, not bothering to pay her any mind. Is it really that difficult? And after I peeled shrimp for you yesterday and personally fed you meat. Starting to bring up old stories again. It turns out peeling shrimp for me yesterday was just a stepping stone for today. All right, fine. I seemingly couldn't find any reason to refuse, so I reluctantly speared a piece of beef with the fork and held it out to her. The next second, she blushed, opened her little mouth, and excitedly took it. Her face, which was originally full of happiness, immediately showed a look of agony the moment she tasted the food. It's terrible. How can it be this bad? If cooking is this hard, how can I be a good wife and mother in the future? Looking at her aggrieved expression, I couldn't help but laugh and told her it was fine. As long as it fills your stomach, it's fine. Hearing that, she felt a bit better. Very quickly, we finished this mystery box lunch. Liu Ruyan moved her body a bit closer and tilted her little head to look at me. Gu Chen, the company is in urgent need of a male model lately, but I haven't been able to find anyone suitable. But until today, I didn't realize that the person I'm looking for isn't far away at all, but is right here in front of me. What male model? Why are you telling me this? I asked back, confused. Because I want to invite you to be a male model for our company. I think with your build and looks, no one is more suitable than you. Besides, the work is very easy. Just strike a few poses and it's done in minutes, and the pay is double that of a moderator. I refused without a moment's hesitation. I don't want to be any male model, not to mention being promoted to billions of viewers. No wonder you prepared such a lavish bento today. It turns out you want to ask me to be a model. Keep dreaming, there's no way I'm going. The model needs to be over 185 centimeters tall, and handsome like Wu Yanzu too. I've looked over and only you fit perfectly. I'm begging you, could you help me just this once? Flattery won't work on me. I don't rely on this face to live. I waved her off. Then she held up one finger toward me. Just filming a 10-second commercial gets you 10,000 yuan. Do you really not want to? Seeing me shake my head, she held up 2 fingers. Then 20,000 yuan per commercial. It's a deal. Liu Ruyan was trying to force the deal. I placed my hand on her forehead. I forgot to tell you. I'm not interested in money. Of course, I knew she was just trying to find an excuse to give me more money. I'm not a professional model or a star, so the fee for a commercial couldn't possibly be that high. My large hand gently rubbed her forehead, wanting her to give up on that idea, find someone else. She pouted with a sense of grievance, huffing, If you're a man, then there must be something that interests you. If you aren't interested in money, then you're definitely interested in women. She immediately reached a conclusion. I froze for a moment. What kind of crazy logic is this? But then again, it wasn't exactly wrong. She suddenly thought of something, her expression becoming serious. How about this? I'll come to your place to serve you tonight. Then you'll definitely have to agree, right? There was a hint of secret delight in her voice. I was startled once again. What the heck? Why does it feel like she's still the one benefiting? She really doesn't want to lose out even a bit. Clearly a female CEO, yet saying such shameless things. Besides, what could you possibly serve me? She continued. I can cosplay as an anime character. Come clean your house. Give you a foot massage. And a back rub too. Isn't that what you shut-ins like? And truly speechless. Who told her these things? And since when did I become a shut-in? I absolutely must not let her know that my favorite anime character is Mai Shiranui. Liu Ruyan's little head had another idea. She shyly said, of course, if you can't help but want to do something excessive to me, then it's not entirely impossible. Ha ha ha. Speaking up to this point, she hurriedly avoided my gaze and covered her small face with both hands. Clearly, her tone was very aggrieved at first, but then, in the next moment, I could hear her laughing with pure anticipation. Gu Chen rolled his eyes in complete helplessness. I firmly stated that I didn't need any of it. Then what exactly do you want? I just want to work a normal job, that's all. I answered her without a second thought. Liu Ruyan crossed her arms over her chest. Gu Chen, are you even a man? With so many temptations laid out right in front of you, and yet he remains completely indifferent and unmoved. I'm begging you, okay? She started clinging to my arm again, acting all spoiled. Her voice was sweet and soft. Her small hands kept swaying back and forth, looking absolutely adorable. She persistently kept up her act for 5 whole minutes. All right, I give up. I can't win with you. So when do we start? Do I need to change clothes? And just pay me my normal salary, that's enough. Liu Ruyan was exhausted from all that acting cute. She pulled her hand back and giggled, I'm so tired. But I finally tamed Gu Chen. Normally, others would kill for an opportunity like this. But for Gu Chen, someone has to act cute and play the Agio card just to get him to reluctantly agree. Time flew by and it was already 3 p.m. The CEO appeared before everyone once again. She walked over to my side, gently grabbed the hem of my shirt, and we headed to the photo studio together. After the two left, the office erupted in gossip. Gu Chen really doesn't know how to appreciate what he has. If it were me, our CEO would already be the mother of 3 of my children. Before long, we arrived at the studio entrance. The studio was massive, with clothes laid out everywhere, props, cameras, and makeup stations, and a lot of staff members were already there. Liu Ruyan put on a serious face and briefly introduced me as the male model. I was then dragged away to get my makeup touched up and change clothes. All I wanted was for this to end quickly, so I could go back to my office and keep being lazy. When I finished changing into the suit and stepped out, the entire studio was instantly stunned. I was already masculine enough. But in a heartbeat, I became the center of attention, making all the girls there fall head over heels. Yet my expression remained perfectly calm. I could hear the girls nearby buzzing. Wow, this colleague named Gu Chen is so handsome. He has the vibe of a vampire. Guys must be reading too many novels. He's clearly the embodiment of a dominant male lead. Oh my god, I want to be friends with him so bad. Shh, keep it down. He's the man CEO Liu has her eyes on, and he's definitely not the type to ride on someone's coattails. He's always going head-to-head with the CEO. Looking at Liu Ruyan beside me, the infatuation in her eyes was plain as day. Her eyes had practically turned into hearts. She even licked her lips. I'm honestly starting to get a little scared. I hurriedly pulled my jacket tight and dodged to the side. Then, following the photographer's instructions, I stood next to a beautiful internet model. Although this Lin Yao looks quite pretty at first glance, she's just another typical influencer face, boring after just a few looks. Lin Yao, on the other hand, was looking at me with eyes that could melt steel, as she gently bit her lip. She must have seen countless men before, but someone as strikingly handsome as me is probably a first. The photographer then gave Gu Chen an order. He needed to carry Lin Yao and just do a fake kiss. I was a bit skeptical. This money really isn't easy to earn. I even have to kiss someone. But a fake kiss is hard to act out. I instinctively tried to back away, but Lin Yao intentionally moved in closer. I habitually looked over at Liu Ruyan, and sure enough, her mouth was hanging open in an O shape. She probably didn't expect the script to go like this, and instantly felt a wave of regret. Her cute little face was full of awkwardness. Since she didn't know the script, she thought it would be simple. Probably just walking together, maybe holding hands at most. Who knew she'd be foolish enough to pay money, just to let another woman flirt with her man? What if Gu Chen accidentally loses his first kiss? The more she thought about it, the more scared she got, sending a resentful glare at the photographer. The photographer felt a chill run down his spine, thinking, isn't this the best result the CEO wanted? Or is it not intimate enough? Should we just switch to a real kiss then? Even before anyone called action, Lin Yao already had her arm around my neck. Let's get started. Probably because she'd never met anyone, even more handsome than Daniel Wu like this. She clearly couldn't wait another second. Seeing that, Liu Ruyan hurriedly rummaged through the cabinets. Wait, where is my knife? I was chosen by the CEO because I was too handsome to be a temporary male model for a day. Never did I expect to run into an internet model who was so insistent on throwing herself at me. The director told us to use camera angles for a fake kiss, but she puckered her red lips and moved in close. Before I could react, she had her arms around me. The woman in front of me had her eyes tightly shut. Watching those lips get closer and closer, this didn't look like a fake kiss at all. When she gave me the money, no one mentioned there'd be a kissing scene. If I'd known, I would have asked for more pay. The cameras were already in position, the lighting was set, ready to capture this perfect moment. Suddenly, a sharp voice rang out in the room. "Stop!" Lin Yao jumped in fright and stopped immediately. Only then did I let go of my hands that were blocking her and breathe a long sigh of relief. That voice had come from Liu Ruyan. Her small face was now flushed bright red with anger. "Photographer, change models." The photographer was stunned. "CEO Liu, who do you want to change? We're at a critical moment right now. Where are we going to find a replacement now?" Liu Ruyan bit her beautiful lips. "Replace Lin Yao. I don't think she's a good fit. So I'll do it myself. If I don't enter hell, then who will?" Lin Yao was dumbfounded, but she didn't dare look Liu Ruyan in the eye. Liu Ruyan's gaze was incredibly fierce right now. Lin Yao could only lower her head and step aside. Finally meeting a man more handsome than Daniel Wu, and yet, I think her chance was snatched away by the CEO. I blinked a few times. Liu Ruyan stopped playing around. Everyone's watching. But Liu Ruyan immediately put her hands on her hips, showing clearly that she was jealous. Looking both fierce and cute, she huffed, "Humph. Did you really want to kiss her that badly?" "Didn't I already say? It's just a fake kiss," I explained helplessly. "I don't care about any of that. Either way, I don't agree." Liu Ruyan couldn't find a proper reason right now, so she started acting stubborn, standing there shaking her head like a rattle, being completely childish. Then suddenly she made a leap and jumped onto me, giving me a tight bear hug, wrapping her arms firmly around my neck. "We're ready. Hurry up and start filming." Liu Ruyan was facing me with an expression of pure anticipation. Though I felt a bit helpless, I thought about it and decided to just go with it. It didn't matter who I filmed with anyway. Besides, why did I feel that being held by her like this made me feel a bit more at ease? Must be an illusion. At this moment, everyone on set was completely stunned. Our CEO here might just have a split personality, fierce as a wild beast toward the staff, but when facing Gu Chen, she's like a newborn kitten. Immediately after, the staff rushed to get to work. Lights shone on the two of them, ready for the first shot. And as I looked directly into Liu Ruyan's eyes, I suddenly realized that her eyes were filled with nothing but my reflection. I let out a soft smile and stopped resisting. I tried putting my arms around her, warning her once more, "Remember, it's just a fake kiss. If you dare try anything, ill." Liu Ruyan immediately looked displeased. She widened her stunning eyes, puffed out her cheeks, and demanded, "What exactly are you going to do?" Looking at her childish state, I simply couldn't find it in me to be angry, and blurted out, "I'll spank your butt then." "Humph," Liu Ruyan mumbled under her breath, without showing even a hint of fear. The shoot began just like that in a blur. The CEO didn't even change her outfit, but surprisingly, the results were excellent. Even the photographer couldn't help but exclaim, "These two are truly a match made in heaven." Then he continued patiently giving directions. "Please get a little closer. That's it. A bit closer. Perfect." Following those directions, a slight smile played on Liu Ruyan's lips. She narrowed her eyes and puckered her lips, looking extremely satisfied. While frustration lines appeared on my forehead, why do I feel like the photographer is playing a prank on me? Watching those fresh lips approaching, only exactly 3.14 centimeters away now. Instinctively, I tilted my head back to avoid it. I guess right. She really was going for a real kiss. Seeing she couldn't kiss me, Liu Ruyan opened her eyes, looking clearly displeased. She tried to lean her head forward a bit more, secretly rejoicing. "Ha ha ha. Gu Chen's first kiss is about to be mine. Wonderful. Just a little bit more." Everyone on set held their breath and stood still, not even daring to blink for a second. Everyone wanted to witness this crucial moment with their own eyes. But right as she was about to achieve her goal, fingers suddenly blocked the space between her lips. "Liu Ruyan, in your dreams. Gu Chen, we're filming here. How dare you not cooperate with me?" She immediately cast aside all reservation and pressed her whole body against me. As a result of her using too much force, I helplessly could only turn my face to the side. In the end, I had to let her kiss my clean cheek. "That's enough, the shoot is over. Get off me right now," I scolded her sternly. Liu Ruyan was seething with rage. After all that preparation, only getting a kiss on the cheek, it was absolutely infuriating. So she decisively tried to turn my face back again. Gu-chin swung his hand, using his palm to cover her small face. Her red lips ended up leaving a mark on my palm. Whoa, you're cheating. You played tricks first. You little sneak. I didn't even notice it myself, but at this very moment, my voice had become much softer. After finishing, the photographer praised the excellent results and even said they were the most beautiful couple had ever photographed. I took my well-deserved pay and hurried back to the company to resume my laziness. What people didn't expect was, after this commercial was released, it immediately hit millions of views. Even though everyone knew it was just an ad, 80% of viewers watched it hundreds of times, unable to scroll past. It was already 5 p.m. I didn't have to work overtime today, so I happily grabbed my things and left. At this moment in the CEO's office, Liu Ruyan had also finished her work, clearing her schedule early. She ran out to find me, but no matter where she looked, there was no sign of me. Her disappointment was clear. Why did he leave so fast? Couldn't he have waited for me for just a bit? What a hateful straight man. Seeing this, my colleague Dan immediately sold me out. He hurriedly stood up and added, CEO. Gu-chen went to the library. He said he was going to cultivate his mind. It was like Liu Ruyan had just found her target. She nodded to him. Then, like a little rabbit, she skipped happily out the door. The remaining colleagues were truly speechless. Who knows what's going on in Gu-chen's head? With a beautiful woman like the CEO right here, how can he be so good at avoiding her? Could it be he likes men? Better stay a bit away from him from now on. Liu Ruyan arrived at the library in no time. It was very quiet here, and hardly anyone was around. She spotted me on a long bench with just one glance, attentively flipping through a book. She casually pulled a random book off the shelf, held it up to hide her face, and slowly approached me, pretending to be engrossed in reading. As her footsteps drew nearer, I caught her in my peripheral vision and let out a tiny smirk without looking up. Waiting until she was right in front of me, she finally couldn't help but speak up first. Oh. Gu-chen, what a coincidence. I didn't expect to run into you here after work. Our hobbies really are perfectly aligned. Hearing that, I looked up at her, with a gaze like I was looking at a fool. This cheap trick of creating a coincidental meeting, only Liu Ruyan would come up with something like this. Hey, why are you looking at me like that? I came here to read books too. You didn't think I followed you all the way here, did you? And not that free, you know. After hearing Liu Ruyan go on like that, my gaze shifted to looking at her as if she were a total idiot. By the way, I kindly reminded her, but you're holding the book upside down. Are you planning to do a handstand to read that? Liu Ruyan immediately bristled like a cat and hurriedly looked down at her book. It really was upside down. Darn it, my cover's blown. She decisively gave up the act. Gu-chen, what are you reading? Then she obediently sat down beside me to read along. I was reading a manga, because I've had a passion for anime since I was little, video games and things like that. But since graduation, I've rarely had the chance to enjoy them. So this was my biggest regret in my past life. Therefore, I want to make up for those regrets now, by finishing all the manga series I left incomplete. Liu Ruyan scooted a little closer, resting her small face on my shoulder. Her eyes weren't on the manga at all, but were fixed on the side profile of my face. Black lines immediately appeared on my forehead. How could she take this so much for granted? So I gave my shoulder a little shrug, but she seemed to be thoroughly enjoying it. Gu-chen, work is over. Why aren't you going home? Of course I had to wait for you to leave before I dared to go home. What if you were waiting to intercept me on the way? Liu Ruyan was extremely displeased to hear that. She glared. You could always retaliate against me. You could intercept me on my way too. I'm sure you'd succeed quite easily. Try it if you don't believe me. Wait a second. Why does it sound like I'm the one who loses either way? Gu-chen, just sitting here is boring. How about we listen to music while we read? I accepted the suggestion. When Liu Ruyan pulled out her phone, I was immediately taken aback in shock. That man on your phone case looks really handsome. Which male star is this? Liu Ruyan flipped the phone over, looked up, and gave an adoring laugh. Ha ha ha. Gu-chen, you're so silly. You really don't recognize him even like this? Isn't this exactly you? A giant question mark appeared over my head. This young man is clearly wearing a school uniform. I don't have any uniform like that. But looking closely, it really does look like me. Liu Ruyan explained, this photo is from 11th grade. It's from when you were punished with laps around the field for being late. I thought you looked so good, so I took a secret photo. And then turned it into a phone case. I remember that punishment run very clearly. Because I had to pee so badly I couldn't hold it. So I had to run into the bushes to water the flowers for a bit. Could it be she was behind me photographing that scene too? I immediately put down the manga, staring at her in complete horror. Next, Liu Ruyan unlocked her phone, and the wallpaper turned out to be a side profile shot of me fast asleep. Don't tell me you secretly took this during my nap too. I think I'm starting to figure things out. Liu Ruyan gave a small nod. She continued to immerse herself in past memories. For this one, I took advantage of the lunch break and sneaked into your classroom to take it. You were sleeping so soundly then. You looked incredibly handsome, so I couldn't help but steal a kiss from you. I frowned and asked, "Did you really kiss me?" It was a kiss on the lips, you know, with such a good opportunity. She flashed a mischievous, cunning smile, but it still looked quite adorable. I stood frozen on the spot in stunned silence. Could my first kiss have been stolen back in high school? Seeing this, Liu Ruyan covered her mouth and giggled. "Haha. Guchen, I was just teasing you. There were so many people around then. It was hard enough just to sneak a photo." Hearing that, I immediately breathed a sigh of relief. But as she unlocked her phone, another shocking sight met my eyes. Every single app icon on her phone had been replaced with pictures of me. Even if the photos were a bit small, they were still clearly visible. I truly don't understand how she took them. To be able to store so many photos of me. Just how much free time does this person have? Was Liu Ruyan a paparazzi major in the past? Looking closely at her phone, less than greater than. It's already 2024. Note, original said 2014, likely meant 2024 or showing age. And yet she's still using that ancient iPhone 4? You're filthy rich. Why don't you get a new phone? Liu Ruyan gave a bashful smile. This phone is filled with nothing but photos of you. How could I ever change it? If I get a new one, I'd have to set everything up from scratch. It's too much trouble. All of them are me. Well, you're certainly dedicated. Then Liu Ruyan calmly took out a pair of earphones she had prepared earlier. She tucked one earbud into my ear. The way we look right now is just like a couple on a pre-planned date, going to the library to read and listen to music together. It's incredibly sweet. After finishing the book to the soft music, the two of us headed downstairs together. Guchen, you must be exhausted today, right? How about I give you a ride home? My car is fully gassed up today. The weather forecast says it's going to get cold today. It might rain. There might even be hail. The roads are slippery when it rains. Riding a scooter is dangerous. If you happen to fall, and a big truck happens to be coming at that exact moment. Have you ever seen Smash Brains? Eek, I don't even want to think about it. So, it's safer to just sit in my car, okay? She tugged at my sleeve and looked at me with expectant eyes. Her little scheme was as clear as day to me. I was absolutely not going to agree to her. Besides, why do I feel like she's cursing me? There's not a single cloud in the sky. I might believe you if you just said rain, but bringing hail into this is just too much. I gave a slight smirk. Real man must know how to bravely say no. I'm not doing it, even if the sky falls today. Even if I have to jump off this building. I'm definitely riding my little scooter home. With that, I waved goodbye to her and immediately turned around and sprinted away. But at this moment, Liu Ruyan didn't look disappointed at all. Instead, a faint, meaningful smile played on her lips. I walked over to my scooter, kicked up the kickstand, inserted the key and tried to start it for a while. But I discovered the wheel wouldn't turn at all. Out of battery? Impossible. I clearly charged it fully, and I only rode it for 2 kilometers during the day. Feeling skeptical, I leaned down, checked the battery pack, and it seemed fine. Looking further back, only then did I discover an extremely serious problem. Who on earth stole my scooter's chain? That's absolutely wicked. What the heck? Who did this? Despite having 36 years of experience staying calm, right now I'm on the verge of swearing out loud, literally losing the chain at the most critical moment. While I was wondering in confusion, who would be bored enough to do such a thing? The sound of a car engine suddenly approached from behind. I turned my head to look, and it was none other than the CEO's pink Maserati, with Liu Ruyan sitting in the driver's seat. A cold, single female CEO after work, actively offering to drive me home in her luxury car. Those petty little schemes of hers. There's no way they could escape my brilliant mind. She's definitely trying to take advantage of being in the car to do something shady with me. I will absolutely never agree to it. How can having a girlfriend compare to the joy of gaming? Besides, falling in love only affects my typing speed. This hand speed honed through 20 years of single life must not be allowed to go to waste like that. So without saying a word, I made up an excuse and ran right back into the company building. It's strange, how could I so easily escape Liu Ruyan's devilish clutches this time? Something just feels off. Whatever, forget it. Anyway, there is no one around now. Who can stop me from going home to play games anymore? Heading to the parking lot, I kicked back the kickstand, sat on my beloved little electric scooter, inserted the key and got ready to start the engine. Whoa, what on earth is this? Why isn't this electric scooter moving at all? The battery is still completely full. I got off to check and was instantly stunned. Who the hell did this? Despite having 36 years of composure, I couldn't help but let out a curse. It turns out someone stole the chain from my electric scooter. Just as I was wondering exactly who would be bored enough to do such a thing, suddenly from behind came the roar of a four-wheeled car engine. It pulled up right next to me. Turning my head to look, it was actually a pink Maserati Quattroporte. The person in the driver's seat was Liu Ruyen. With that innocent doll-like face, she looked at me through the window with a puzzled expression. Oh, Guchen, did someone steal your bike chain? Who could be so idle to do that? How utterly immoral. Truly detestable. The moment I saw her, I narrowed my eyes to observe, because I had a feeling she was secretly laughing. I feared if I didn't look closely, I'd miss her stifled giggle. Guchen, look at your scooter, you can't ride it like this anymore. How about I give you a ride home first? I'll have my secretary get this scooter fixed later. She blinked her beautiful eyes, putting on a look of deep concern, while I continued to squint at her suspiciously. At this moment, a heavy silence hung both inside and outside the car. Liu Ruyen held it in for a few seconds, but finally couldn't resist anymore. She suddenly burst into laughter. Only then did I widen my eyes a bit. What are you laughing at? The cat's finally out of the bag, isn't it? Can't I just have some good news today? I'm speechless. What a terrible excuse. I originally intended to keep cursing the person who stole my chain, wishing them bad luck in the future and such, but thinking back, forget it. That's when it clicked. No wonder when we were sitting together earlier, I kept smelling something on her small hands, a faint lingering smell of engine oil. I didn't pay any attention back then, but at this very moment, someone who's watched 10,000 Conan episodes, I understood immediately. There's only one truth, Liu Ruyen. Give me back my scooter chain, now. Upon hearing this, her small face filled with shock. She quickly covered her mouth with her hand. Guchen a detective or something, to notice such a tiny clue like that. Terrified, her shimmering eyes darted around to avoid mine. She stammered in protest. I didn't do it. Even if it's you, Guchen, you can't just frame me like this. You need evidence to back up your words. Did she think saying that would stop me? Not at all. The next second, I walked around to her side of the car. Give me your hand. Liu Ruyen momentarily felt a surge of fear. She obediently took her hand off the steering wheel, offering her small, fair hand to me. What's wrong, Oppa? Did I do something so wrong that you want to hit my hand? She genuinely thought she was about to be punished. Her eyes went wide and brimmed with tears. Seeing her looking so pitiful and helpless, even if I really wanted to strike her, I absolutely wouldn't have the heart to do it now. I'm not that idle. I simply took her hand and brought it close to my nose, taking a serious sniff. After confirming my suspicion, I handed it back to her. I held her hand right in front of her own nose. Smell it yourself. Where did this machine oil scent come from? And you should pay a little more attention. The oil stain on your palm hasn't even been washed off yet. Liu Ruyen looked closely. There was a dark smudge that hadn't been scrubbed away, mostly because machine oil is naturally hard to clean. Though her body fragrance partially masked the scent, I could still pick it up. Liu Ruyen was dazed for a moment. She instantly pulled her hand back in embarrassment. I thought I'd scrubbed it so hard with detergent. She muttered to herself for a long while. After regaining her composure, she looked up at me shyly, then gave a sheepish laugh. Ha ha ha. I thought I had done it perfectly. I didn't expect you'd see right through me in a heartbeat, as expected of the man I chose. Laughing? What the hell are you laughing at? I scolded her. Give me back my scooter chain, now. I don't know anything about it. Liu Ruyen tried to quibble, since she originally planned to give me a ride home. If she just gave it back so easily, wouldn't all her efforts so far have been for nothing? Her small face looked aggrieved, fingers interlacing. She knew she was in the wrong, but she still didn't dare to admit it. Seeing her with her head bowed like that, I was both angry and amused at the same time. You're not giving it back? Fine. Great, I'll just walk home then. By the time Liu Ruyen looked up, she realized I had already started walking ahead. She immediately started the car and chased after me. Guchen, please don't be mad at me. I'm sorry, I know it's my fault. The chain isn't broken or anything. I just temporarily put it away in a locker. It's still perfectly intact. I won't do it again next time, so please pay attention to me. While she drove slowly beside me, she kept apologizing incessantly. Seeing that her attitude was quite sincere, I stopped being angry. I just didn't say anything, that's all. Anyway, since your bike is out of commission, why don't you get in my car? Let me drive you home. Think of it as my way of making up to you, okay? No need, walking is good for my health. I kept walking with my head held high, stubbornly refusing to get into her car. As for Liu Ruyen, she kept crawling forward in her luxury car, just like a housekeeper pleading for the young master to return home, turning to inherit a trillion-dollar fortune. Eventually, my legs grew weary from walking. Seeing Liu Ruyan still persistently following me, her mouth never ceasing its flow of sweet words, I had no choice but to compromise. Fine, just this once. There won't be a next time. To the point where Liu Ruyan's voice was almost hoarse. I finally agreed to get in the car, making her finally breathe a sigh of relief. Goodness, Gu Chen is harder to coax than a girl. She never imagined that as a powerful female CEO, offering to be his driver and still being rejected, having to chase after him and plead like this. What on earth is happening? While I was buckling my seatbelt, I heard her whispering, "What are you saying?" "Oh, nothing, it's nothing." Seeing that I'd finished buckling up, she continued to drive on. I have to admit this pink Maserati is way too flashy, and most importantly, inside the car were two people more beautiful than any movie stars, making countless passersby turn their heads to stare. Before long, we arrive at the dilapidated apartment complex where I live. She picked a parking spot and carefully parked before letting me get out. I felt a bit puzzled. Wasn't she supposed to leave after dropping me off? Why was she parking the car? "Liu Ruyan, I'm home now, you should head back too. Drive safely. Bye-bye." I glanced at her with a bit of panic, that immediately made a run for it. But she nimbly hopped out of the car, her small feet quickly catching up to my pace. "Liu Ruyan, what are you doing?" Suddenly, she grabbed my arm tightly from behind. I had a feeling this girl was up to something again, because that doll-like face was wearing a very mischievous grin. "I've driven you all the way home. Now that we're here, won't you invite me in for a cup of tea? How can you be so quick to shoo me away?" Her innocent romantic smile made my face darken. I extended a finger, curled it slightly, and placed it on her forehead, giving that fair little forehead a light flick. "Ouch!" Liu Ruyan cried out, looking like she was about to burst into tears. But in truth, I hadn't used much force at all. Her skin must just be incredibly delicate. "You're the one who took the chain off my bike, leaving me with no electric scooter to ride. And you still have the nerve to ask for tea." I knew full well she wanted to come inside my house, or perhaps something even more excessive, to fast-track the relationship between us. As a prime example of a straight man, I absolutely wouldn't let that happen. "Boo-hoo, mean Gu Chen is bullying me." She clutched her forehead, her eyes filled with a soft resentment. Looking at her like this, a sudden wave of guilt washed over me. Did it actually hurt that much? I even had the urge to step forward and gently blow on it for her, but I quickly extinguished that thought. So I chuckled. "You want tea, do you? Wait right here. I'll go upstairs and bring some down for you." Liu Ruyan pouted. "No wonder you still don't have a girlfriend." "No, I want to come in and hang out for a bit, just for a moment." Finally, she revealed her true purpose, in an irresistible coquettish voice, as she moved to cling to my shoulder. Her mouth said just for a moment, but her heart wanted it to be forever. I had seen through her intentions long ago. I smirked, keep dreaming. Hearing this, Liu Ruyan was not remotely deterred and thought of a new trick. "Boo-hoo-hoo. Gu Chen, how can you have the heart to bully someone as helpless as me?" Her voice was laced with muffled sobs, looking incredibly pitiful. "What do you mean by that?" My lip twitched, filled with skepticism. Playful girl rolled her eyes. Because my house burned down earlier. I'm so miserable. Boo-hoo-hoo. Could you make up a story more absurd than that? Besides, she was clearly faking the tears. I ignored her and walked straight ahead. As a result, this petty little thing just kept grabbing my hand and wouldn't let go. "Okay, I'll tell the truth. Actually, it's because my parents found out about the two of us." My parents aren't happy at all. They said they'd lock me in a dark room when I get home, so I don't dare go home anymore. "So, isn't it all your fault?" She played the victim, shifting all the blame onto me. She stomped her foot. "What the heck? I was doing just fine, and now disaster has suddenly fallen on my head. And what do you mean by about the two of us? Can you stop speaking so ambiguously? There's absolutely nothing between us, As soon as I spoke, I looked at her like she was an idiot, at a loss for words. "Since you're so wealthy, you should just go rent a place to live." Liu Ruyan bowed her head again upon hearing this. "Places outside all have cameras everywhere. It's not safe at all." Once again, I was speechless. Is it somehow safer at my place? Actually, it should feel even less safe, lest you forget that I'm also a man. I had reached the entrance of the complex. However, the petty person beside me still had no intention of letting go. "I want to live with you. That way, I won't be afraid of my parents anymore. Is that okay, Oppa?" As she spoke, she used her cute little nose to rub against my shoulder. "You're not afraid, but I am. If a fresh white cabbage like you were snatched by me, wouldn't your father come here with a knife to find me? Even though I have absolutely no intentions toward this cabbage. As for the rent, can I just give you a raise?" "Absolutely not. I maintain an extremely firm stance. I've worked hard to lead a peaceful salted fish life. A raise would ruin everything. The two of us remain stuck together. Continuing through the entrance. The apartment I rent is on the 4th floor, so we need the elevator. I already arrive at the elevator doors. Several other people were nearby, also preparing to enter. Liu Ruyan still clung to me persistently. Gu Chen, please let me stay with you. I'll be very good. I can do the laundry, cooking, everything. I definitely won't cause any trouble for you. I shook my head vigorously. If I allow it once, there will be a second time. I won't be fooled. Even if I had to jump from here today, I would absolutely never agree. Less than a second later, she launched an even more powerful attack. After entering the elevator, it was quite crowded inside. I originally intended to remain firm and unshakable, waiting for her to give up on her own. Suddenly, a warm sensation brushed against my ear, causing me to instinctively let out a sound of enjoyment. Almost. Liu Ruyan. What are you doing? Stop that, I said, turning my head slightly. Seeing that Liu Ruyan actually dared to close her beautiful eyes, stand on her tiptoes, and part her fragrant lips to gently nibble on my ear. What normal man could possibly endure something like this? My entire body suddenly went weak. When everyone in the elevator saw this, they immediately showed looks of disdain, or were simply left speechless. Everyone scrambled to distance themselves, this couple flaunting their affection. Just taking an elevator and being forced to watch this romance. Two elderly ladies couldn't help but shake their heads, thinking to themselves that young people nowadays really know how to enjoy life. Liu Ruyan, let go. We're home, I said, utterly helpless. Stepping out of the elevator, my front door was right there, yet she still hung on tight and refused to let go. I was almost at the point where we had to support each other with weakened bodies just to exit the elevator. Haha, so that means you agree, right? Liu Ruyan lightly licked the corner of her lip, looking at my ear. If I denied it again, she would surely bite it once more. I truly had no way to deal with her. Let go first. I still have to get my keys. Only then did she reluctantly and obediently let go. I reached into my pocket to fumble for the keychain and then prepared to open the door. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw her gaze fixed intensely on me, and she was extremely focused. It seemed that if I showed even a slight opening, she would immediately rush forward to hug me. The door was about to open, but in that moment I suddenly turned my head to look at her, flash a mischievous grin. Ah, there's a cockroach by your foot. Hearing this, Liu Ruyan's expression on her small face looked like it was about to explode. She hurriedly scrambled backward. Cockroach? Where is it? Help! Help me! Clearly terrified, she rushed to huddle against the wall. I seized the opportunity and bolted into the house, leaving only a tiny crack in the doorway, and gave her a final instruction. Liu Ruyan, I don't need your help with laundry or cooking. Hurry up and go home. Do you hear me? Finally, with a loud thud, the door slammed shut. Only then did the young girl snap back to her senses, her small face turning red with anger. Turns out I've been teased by Gu Chen once again. She walked huffily to the front door and pounded on it a few times. Gu Chen, you're such a big liar. Boo-hoo, you don't want me anymore? How can you be so heartless? Gu Chen, I know I was wrong. Please let me in. She received no response whatsoever. She probably thought I'd gone to my room and couldn't hear her, but actually I was standing right behind the door, listening to every movement outside, yet I was determined not to answer. I definitely mustn't spoil her too much. I hoped she would go home and rest soon. It had been an exhausting time. The noise outside the door finally faded, until it became completely silent. The final sound was the elevator doors opening and closing. Only then did I feel somewhat relieved. She's probably gone, right? Hold on a second. Liu Ruyan is a fairly sensitive girl. What if she's crouched outside, crying? The more I thought about it, the more uneasy I became. So I tried to gently pull the door handle, wanting to peek and see if she had truly left. I just barely cracked the door open. There wasn't a single sound outside. Gradually, I felt more at ease and opened the door a bit wider to step out and take a look. But in that instant, everything outside finally came into view. Taking advantage of her not paying attention, I slipped back into the house in a flash and conveniently bolted the door shut. Hee, as long as my speed is fast enough, then no romance can ever hope to catch up to me. At first, Liu Ruyan continued to stand outside, pounding on the door and shouting. After a while, it suddenly became unusually quiet outside. I both hoped she would give up quickly and go home, and worried that she would stubbornly remain waiting at the door. With an incredibly anxious mind, I still decided to peek out the door to check. Unexpectedly, as soon as I opened the door, I saw that beautiful young girl already standing there waiting for a long time. The moment I opened the door, she suddenly lunged straight toward me, giving me a tight, bear-like hug. Whoa! In a heartbeat, I was entwined by a clingy little kitten, making me lose my balance as I accidentally tripped. I fell backward. Ah. Liu Ruyan, you dared to ambush me. Aha, so you really do care about me. Suddenly, she stole a quick kiss on my cheek, just like a reward. Luckily, I tilted my face in time so she didn't hit my lips. Can you stand up now? Is it that fun pressing down on me like this? It's great, I just want to hold you forever. What if you kick me out of the house again? So you should carry me up. I was helpless, slowly carrying the mischievous girl as I stood up. Only then did I feel it. Something was cushioning the back of my head. It turned out to be her hands. Surely it was because she feared I hit my head on the ground, so she intentionally cushioned it for me. Truly a strange girl. In this moment, the distance between our faces was very small, our breaths seeming to merge into one. Yet Liu Ruyan didn't take advantage of the chance to go further. Her lips only overflowed with an adorable smile. Right at this moment, both of our stomachs growled in unison. Liu Ruyan looked as if she discovered a treasure, immediately exclaiming, "Gu Chen, you're hungry, aren't you? So don't kick me out anymore. Let me cook dinner for you." I watched as she hopped down from me and quickly headed straight into the kitchen, looking incredibly capable and resourceful. I didn't have the heart to chase her away anymore, because I realized that no matter how much I tried to drive her off, in my heart I would still be worried about whether she had actually left. Before entering the kitchen, Liu Ruyan quickly closed the door and locked it tight, probably fearing I'd change my mind and toss her out by the scruff of her neck. I found it somewhat amusing. Suddenly, I remembered something. Hey, wait, let go of my vegetables. Please don't harm them. Thinking back to the bento box she once made, that flavor was truly unique. I snatched the tomato from her hand. Just go out there and set the table. Let me cook, I told her gently. She listened and went to get the dishes, wash them under the tap, and arrange them neatly and orderly on the table. Next, I planned to make stir-fried eggs with tomatoes, sweet and sour pork ribs, and steamed crucian carp, all simple home-cooked dishes. Actually, in my previous life at this age, I basically didn't know how to cook anything at all. It was only after I became a business tycoon that I learned from a renowned master chef. While I was focused on the cooking, Liu Ruyan silently crept up behind me, thoughtfully helping me put on an apron from behind, and even tying a pretty little bow for me. Grease is splattering everywhere. Why aren't you wearing an apron? What will happen if your clothes get dirty? She tilted her pretty little head, gently touching her lip with a finger. Seeing her sweet and caring appearance, I suddenly became a bit dazed, to the point where the food in the pan almost burned. Once finished, I turned back to continue my cooking task. Over an hour later, fragrant dishes were laid out on the table. Liu Ruyan sat down at the table in a flash. I originally intended to call out to her, but now it seemed entirely unnecessary. I tidied up the kitchen a little bit, and it was a good while before I sat down across from her at the table. I saw that the food hadn't been touched at all. I looked at her suspiciously. Liu Ruyan, why didn't you eat first? She gave a playful smile. Of course, I had to wait for the master of our house to arrive. Only then would your humble servant dare to start eating. I have to say, hearing that made me feel a bit touched, but the second half left me speechless. It was so corny. Seeing me arrive, she finally picked up her chopsticks. She reached out to pick up a piece of sweet and sour rib, but because she had burned her finger earlier, she couldn't grip them properly. She tried twice but failed, and it only made her hand hurt more. Seeing that, I found it quite funny, so I used my chopsticks to pick up one piece after another for her. Almost half of the food was moved to her side, filling her bowl to the brim. Liu Ruyan immediately felt a surge of happiness. She had never felt this happy before, and pursed her small lips. That's enough, she said as she gently took a rib, held it to her lips, and savored it for a while. The flavor was truly sweet, perfectly suited to her taste. After all, sweet and sour ribs are quite sweet, and eating too many can get a bit sickening. So she intended to pick up a piece of tomato to cut the rich, but as she was pulling her hand back, she accidentally let some sauce drip onto herself. Lowering her head to look, it was the warm sensation spreading from her chest. Her neckline was already quite low cut. She didn't really want to hide it anyway, mainly because she couldn't hide it all. She was no longer the little girl of the past, but had developed into the impressive size she had now. And though she wasn't fat at all, the stain on her bust made her very uncomfortable. I watched her movements, while also noticing the dark red stain on her chest. For a moment, a straightforward guy like me didn't dare to look up, trying to act calm while keeping my head down and eating. Liu Ruyan blinked her beautiful eyes, came up with a good idea, and said coquettishly, "Oh my. Gu Chen's tomato sauce accidentally got on my skin. So, could I trouble you to wipe it off for me?" This was clearly a provocation. I felt lines of exasperation appear on my forehead. Why does she have to call it Gu Chen's tomato sauce? Aside from the fact that I cooked the dish, what does the rest have to do with me? She makes it sound like I'm the one who dirtied her. You spilled it on yourself. Wipe it off yourself. I handed her a tissue. Despite saying that, my throat felt a bit dry. Even though she was well developed, I felt that besides being easy on the eyes, I wasn't that interested. Liu Ruyan didn't get angry after hearing that, but lightly curled her lips into a smile, giggling to herself. She took the tissue and gently wiped it away. After dinner, I started washing the dishes. Liu Ruyan helped wipe the table, and finally joined me in washing the dishes, like a young couple, happy and never getting tired of it. But Guqian wouldn't admit that. After finishing, I wanted to take a shower first, so I told her, just sit and relax for a bit. I'll arrange things for you after my shower. Don't touch my stuff randomly. Don't do anything at all. Got it? She felt a bit reluctant after hearing that, but still obediently agreed. Liu Ruyan's eyes were filled with a burning look, an intense desire. She licked her lips, waiting for me to enter the bathroom. Suddenly, seeing that expectant expression on her face, I thought of something, and casually added, one more thing. Don't eavesdrop on me while I'm showering. If I find out you did, I'll definitely teach you a lesson. Liu Ruyan looked like she had just been easily robbed of something important, her small expression becoming extremely unwilling as she puffed out her cheeks and said, What? Even that's not allowed? Then didn't I come here for nothing? I was momentarily stunned, not quite hearing what this girl was muttering. Liu Ruyan immediately explained, It's nothing. Go ahead and shower with peace of mind. I'll stand guard for you. Ha ha, lines appeared on my head again, feeling that having her stand guard was the most dangerous thing. I didn't pay much attention and stepped inside, taking the clothes I just changed out of, placing them through the gap in the door onto the outside shelf, and then quickly locking the door. After all, I was undressing now. I was genuinely afraid she might launch a surprise attack, and then I'd be done for. As for Liu Ruyan, she only just realized and felt regretful, wondering why she hadn't just charged through the door earlier. What a pity. Hearing the sound of running water, Liu Ruyan started daydreaming. Since I had warned her beforehand, she didn't dare stand in front of the door for too long. While she was bored, she saw the pile of clothes I had just changed out of, and picked them up, intending to show off her skills a bit. Liu Ruyan gathered all my dirty laundry, put it in a basin, then poured in laundry detergent, rolled up her sleeves like a diligent housewife, and scrubbed each item thoroughly. 5 minutes later, I finished my shower and came out, feeling refreshed all over, only to see Liu Ruyan out on the balcony hanging up laundry. Because the drying rack was too high, her petite figure had to stand on tiptoe to be able to reach it. As she was hanging up a large pair of shorts, I immediately felt embarrassed, but she kept tiptoeing and still couldn't hang it, almost tumbling over in the process, looking very frustrated. I smiled slightly, gently approached her from behind, and took the clothes from her. Silly girl, you must have been a picky eater before, right? That's why you're so short. I was kind enough to wash your clothes, and you dare call me short. I hate you. Seeing that she really was helping me with the laundry, I stopped teasing her and gently patted her small head. However, when I saw that there were still suds on the clothes, I was stunned for a moment. Did you use too much laundry detergent? There's foam all over the shirt. I looked up, saw the other items already hung up, which were also covered in soap suds. Regardless of whether the stains were gone, the detergent definitely hadn't been rinsed out. I accidentally poured a bit too much detergent. No matter how I wash them, the suds won't go away. I'm having a real headache over this too. I picked up the bag of laundry detergent from the floor, only to see that less than half of the newly bought bag remained. This spendthrift girl didn't just use a lot. Damn, she used almost the whole thing. No wonder she couldn't rinse it clean. Does laundry detergent not cost money? I deliberately put on a fierce face. Clumsy as you are, who would want to marry you in the future? Being scolded, Liu Ruyan guiltily rubbed her small hands together. Don't I still have you? Her voice was very soft, but still quite stubborn. I rolled my eyes, then took down all the clothes she had just hung up, washed them again. Gu Chen. I rinsed them over and over again, but the suds just wouldn't go away. I was at my wit's end. Next, I used 2 more buckets of water to rinse the clothes again. Liu Ruyan heard this and wanted to come in and help, but I refused her. Best to just let her sit still. Otherwise, she might just make things more chaotic. She mistakenly thought I was still angry, so she clung to me relentlessly, even pleading and apologizing I know I was wrong. I'm sorry, I won't do it again. Let me give you a kiss. Gu Chen, please don't be mad anymore. Just as she finished speaking, she suddenly hugged me from behind. Then her cherry lips took advantage of my inattention and planted a loud peck on my clean face. What are you doing now? I snapped out of it and realized something was wrong, but it was too late to stop her. On my face, which was just freshly washed, a red mark suddenly appeared. Is this supposed to be a reward? I certainly don't need it. Are you still angry? Then let me kiss this side too. She swiftly hugged me, as sweet as a real couple, and gave me another peck on the other cheek. So now the two marks on my cheeks were symmetrical. All right. I'm not mad anymore. Mainly because I was about to reach my limit. I wasn't actually angry, and now my whole body was about to turn to jelly. My 36 years of life experience was about to be completely eroded by this girl. Then Liu Ruyan just kept holding me tight, gazing at my handsome profile without saying a word. I said helplessly, "My dear lady, how can I do the laundry if you keep hugging me like this?" It took 3 more buckets of water to completely rinse out all the suds. After hanging the clothes, I went to take out the trash. And going out to take out the trash, don't touch anything and you should go take a shower too. Go to bed early. Liu Ruyan saluted, "Yes, sir. Commander, mission guaranteed to be completed." Seeing me walk out the door, Ruyan went straight into my room. The room was spotless without any strange odor and everything was neatly arranged. This isn't a shut-ins room at all. This is clearly the ideal model for 20 billion women around the world. A real man is right here, ha ha ha. I wonder if Gu Chen's room has any pajamas. She hummed to herself while skipping, and walked over to the computer desk. Accidentally, she was drawn to the figures on the desk. The only shut-in element are these anime figures. A few minutes later, I returned from outside and closed the door. And as I was about to enter my room, I was blocked at the door by Liu Ruyan, not letting me in. I looked at her suspiciously, noticing a bit of anxiety on her small face. Step aside. Hearing this, Liu Ruyan was startled, her whole body trembling slightly. Then she guiltily avoided my gaze and stammered, "Gu Chen, let me ask you something. Those figures on your desk, are they very expensive? Where can I buy them?" I didn't know why she was blocking me at the door to talk about this, so I casually replied, "Yeah. Very expensive, maybe from a few thousand to tens of thousands of yuan. And most of them are limited editions. You can't necessarily buy them even if you have money." Liu Ruyan seemed very surprised to hear that, not expecting those figures to be so costly, and limited editions to boot. "Let me ask just one more thing. The largest Iron Man on the desk, how much is it worth?" she asked tentatively. I blurted out, "That's the most expensive one, and there are only 50 sets in the world." I had to ask a friend abroad to finally get it. Tens of thousands of yuan, limited edition, less than greater than. Liu Ruyan's heart immediately skipped a beat. Less than greater than, not understanding why. Less than greater than. Men would spend that much money on such things. Of course, money wasn't the issue. The issue was that even with money, you might not be able to buy it again. I'll ask just this last question. If, and I'm just saying if someone accidentally, I mean purely by chance, accidentally broke that Iron Man, if it shattered into pieces, what would you do to them? Her voice started to sound a bit choked up. I immediately understood what was going on and said through gritted teeth, "Then I'd probably pin them down on the bed and give them a thorough thrashing." Liu Ruyan was scared now, her whole back pressed against the wall, noticing that she was hiding both hands behind her back, as if she were holding something. Looking at Liu Ruyan standing timidly against the wall, her small hands hidden behind her, as if holding something. So I didn't say a word, just took her hands and pulled them forward, revealing the Iron Man figure indeed, but its surface looked quite jagged. It had clearly been dropped and then glued back together with superglue. I stared blankly at it, the Iron Man that had been with me throughout high school, my hands trembling slightly. "I'm sorry. I saw it was so big earlier and wanted to pick it up and play with it. I didn't expect to accidentally drop and break it, but I found some glue and put it back together. It just doesn't look very good. I'm willing to compensate you 10 times its value. I just hope Gu Chen will go easy on me when scolding me, okay?" She lowered her head, mentally prepared to be scolded or spanked, eyes tightly shut, lips pursed, small hands clutching the hem of her shirt. Her attitude in admitting the mistake seemed very sincere. I looked at her, then glanced at the wounded Iron Man figure. The two of us stood silently at the door for 2 full minutes. Although the Iron Man was badly damaged, Liu Ruyan had very meticulously pieced it back together piece by piece, not even missing a single tiny fragment. Seeing her waiting there to be scolded, how could I still be angry? Even with just a light scolding, she would definitely blame herself and cry pitifully. I couldn't bear it, especially since I'd be the one who'd have to comfort her in the end anyway. Forget it, it's just a display item anyway. Gluing it back together like this isn't so bad. Let's just leave it at that. It's all right. At that, Liu Ruyan opened, her worried eyes blinking repeatedly, her shimmering eyes filled with doubt, and her tears were on the verge of falling. How can you suddenly decide not to scold me? She placed both hands over her chest. I'll definitely pay you the compensation. Thank you for forgiving me, Gu Chen. My Gu Chen is just too gentle. Tiptoeing once more, she gave me another peck. Luckily, I was on guard and dodged it in time, so she only kissed my chin. Otherwise, it would have been on the mouth. All right, go take your shower now. It's getting late. Understood. Liu Ruyan giggled to herself again and headed straight for the bathroom. I looked at the Iron Man return to me, clutching it with heartache. What a truly spendthrift girl she is. Liu Ruyan stepped into the bathroom, filled the tub with water, and quickly cast off her clothes. Her skin was fair and smooth. Her small feet lightly touched the surface like a dragonfly skimming water. Then she stepped into the warm water and began to soak. Phew. A while later, while I was sitting outside drinking water, I suddenly heard a sound coming from the bathroom. Gu Chen. I forgot to bring my pajamas in. Could you bring them to me, please? Hearing that gentle plea, somehow my chest suddenly flushed warm by instinct. Honestly, how do you start a bath without getting your clothes first? But how am I supposed to give them to you? Hee, I haven't locked the door. I'm always ready to welcome you. Hearing that gave me a jolt, for getting clothes is one thing, but not even locking the door. Wasn't this just too blatant? I found your things, but I'll just leave them on the shelf outside. Come out and get them yourself. Liu Ruyan immediately looked at me with frustration like I was a hopeless case. It's too far, I can't reach it from here. Can you please bring them inside for me? I can bring them in for you. But if you dare launch a surprise attack, or do anything weird, then I'll shut off the water heater and the heat lamp. You'll be taking a cold bath then. After my long speech, I chuckled smugly to myself. No less than expected of me, truly a master of deep schemes. Liu Ruyan fell silent in the bathroom for 2 seconds, thinking, if you keep this up, even if you find a girlfriend, I'll take your last name right away. Humph, you're really being too mean. She hummed and puffed, splashing the water in frustration, discarding the tricks she had just come up with. Quickly, I found a set, pink rabbit pajamas that suited a girl well. My cousin left this set behind last time she visited, and today was the perfect time to use it. I took the pajamas and cautiously opened the door. Incoming in. No reply. Opening the door, I saw Liu Ruyan lying quietly in the tub, her small face puffed out with anger. Instinctively, I moved to cover my eyes, but on closer inspection, I saw that her entire body was already submerged under the water, showing only her small head and her fair knees beneath the surface. I'm leaving the clothes here for you. Remember to put them on in a bit. Liu Ruyan's face was sulky, her small chin buried deep in the water, looking truly adorable. After staring for a while, I snapped out of it, hurriedly looked away, closed my eyes, and walked straight out. Even though they say gazing at someone's body is a mutual matter and not forbidden by law, I don't encourage this kind of thing, mind you. Who else but me would have such gentlemanly grace? Heh, Gu Chen, so adorable. Before the door closed, I heard her laughter again, clear as a silver bell, obviously teasing me. Adorable, my foot. By the time Liu Ruyan finished her bath and came out, the beautiful pink rabbit maiden had appeared stunningly right before my eyes. These rabbit fur pajamas really suited her, as if they were tailor-made for her, further accentuating her innocence and cuteness. Gu Chen, really? So you had prepared these adorable pajamas for me early on. I stood at the door looking at the cute little rabbit before me, her blinking eyes looking incredibly silly and sweet. She brought the pile of dirty laundry out and went to the balcony to wash them. I originally wanted to give her a hand, but since it was women's underwear, I was embarrassed just looking at them. So how would I dare touch them? So I could only stand by to support and supervise her laundry, to prevent her from using too much detergent again. Next was the matter of assigning bedrooms. The apartment I rented had 2 bedrooms and a living room, so the space was quite comfortable. I truly didn't expect Liu Ruyan to stay over at my place today, whether she really argued with her parents, or just unilaterally wanted to move in with me. Once I agreed and the shower was finished, I had to let her stay. I led her to a bedroom door. Liu Ruyan rubbed her small hands together, eagerly waiting for my arrangement. Hee, it's bedtime. She was so happy that her pink rabbit ears seemed ready to stand straight up. I finished tidying up the room for you. The Wi-Fi password is 8 number 8s. Don't stay up too late. I'm going to bed first. Good night. Hearing this, Liu Ruyan was momentarily stunned, disappointment showing on her face like an avalanche. What? Are we going to sleep together? She pouted, then tugged at the hem of my shirt, looking both naive and adorable. I smiled slightly, having expected her to say that, so I immediately grabbed her rabbit ears and lifted them up. Liu Ruyan, what kind of delusions are you having? There are 2 rooms. Why wouldn't we sleep separately? Besides, I snore when I sleep. So my arrangement is absolutely correct. Her expression immediately became full of resentment, her soft, small fists thumping against my chest. Ah, I hate you. Touching rabbit ears randomly will make me pregnant. I almost burst out laughing. How old are you? To still believe lies like I'm pregnant from a light touch. I'm really afraid of the dark. Can you care about me just a little bit? Just sleep together for one night, okay? I swear I absolutely won't try anything. Before she finished speaking, she used both hands to tightly hug my arm. I'm far from believing those sweet words. Stop deceiving me. Who's afraid of the dark these days anyway? If you're truly afraid of the dark, you can leave the light on. I can still afford this bit of electricity. It's decided. Now let go of my arm. Seeing this, Liu Ruyan's small angry face revealed her snaggletooth. No. If you don't let me sleep with you, then I'll just keep hugging you like this forever. I love hearing you snore the most, and am very well behaved when I sleep. Furthermore, when you wake up in the morning and open your eyes, you'll see a beautiful girlfriend like me, lying right next to me. Isn't that just an incredibly happy thing? Ha, stop being so dramatic, girl. How boring. Since this sleeping together thing happened once, there will definitely be a second time. I must exercise some self-control about this. Let me tell you something. Even if the sky falls down, I won't sleep with you. We can stay here and test each other's resolve until morning, even though sleeping while holding such a soft girl is very comfortable, but I still prefer my anime body pillow. Just like that, the 2 of them stood deadlocked at the door for who knows how long. Liu Ruyan thought to herself that they couldn't just stand at the door forever. Gu Chen's willpower was truly too strong. She was completely no match for him, so she had no choice but to hold him tightly while trying her best to pull him toward her room. Then she hugged me, leaning back with all her strength. Because the center of gravity was shifting forward, I was afraid she would fall. Having no other choice, I had to give in bit by bit. And so, I was gradually dragged into the room by her. And then Liu Ruyan even nimbly used her hip to push the bedroom door shut. She looked up at me with innocent eyes and a mischievous smile, hee. Today you belong to me. She didn't know that if I hadn't let her win on purpose, she wouldn't have been able to pull me at all. Right after that, she spent nearly 10 more minutes before she could pull me onto the bed. Then she went to the bedside and shook her body hard twice. I couldn't hold my ground and tumbled straight onto the bed. With the weight of my body pressing down, she let out a soft moan. But she quickly regained her senses. Liu Ruyan hugged me tightly once again, maintaining a posture where we could sleep peacefully while holding each other. And I was also very stubborn, continuing to press my upper body against hers, looking straight into Liu Ruyan's eyes. I really give up with this. Little thing, aren't your arms tired? Now that we're on the bed, let's keep testing each other's resolve. Anyway, holding you to sleep for a night won't hurt. It's not like I'm losing out. I even felt a bit smug inside. I was pressing down from the front. Actually, with just a little bit of carelessness, it would be face to face, and my lips would touch hers immediately. This feeling really makes one feel restless. Liu Ruyan's body was fine, but my body began to heat up, because her legs were wrapped tightly around my back. Gu Chen looked up at that lovely smiling face, acting tough on purpose. Fine. Then let's see who's more stubborn. I'll leave once you're fast asleep. Then even God himself won't be able to stop me. Fine. Then I'll stay up all night. It's fine if we just stare at each other like this all night. She was smiling and occasionally puckering her lips on purpose, pretending as if she wanted to kiss me. I helplessly dodged. If anyone were looking right now, they would surely be so envious that I have such a cute girlfriend. But for me, this is a bit of a headache. 1 minute, 10 minutes, then 20 minutes passed. Finally, the tough-talking Liu Ruyan was the first one who couldn't take it anymore. Her eyes began to grow glazed and sleepy. Her small mouth yawned repeatedly, so sleepy that tears welled up in her eyes, looking exactly like a little kitten dozing off. As for me, I didn't feel sleepy. I just felt very helpless. Since I was pressing down on her, I had to use my hands to prop myself up to maintain a certain distance or else I would crush her. Plus, Liu Ruyan's soft, fragrant body, any man wouldn't be able to sleep. Another minute passed. The breathing of the young girl in front of me became steady and soft. Her small hands finally loosened their grip, then slowly slid down her sides. Her legs also hung loosely on the bed. Her petite body just lay there, silent and soft. I gently shook my head. I really don't know what to do with her, just like a child. In the end, she was still the loser. Right now, I feel my whole body is aching. I was about to sit up, but Liu Ruyan was deep in sleep. Her long eyelashes were tightly shut. Her small, cherry-like mouth mumbled in her sleep. Gu Chen, I'm going to sleep well now. I'll have a very good sleep. Though the voice was a bit vague, "Nhưng tôi vẫn nghe rõ được," that coquettish voice made my heart stir slightly. Can a kiss make you sleep better? Looking at her appearance while asleep, she's truly more adorable than anyone. So I'll make an exception just this once. I didn't even realize my own gaze had become more gentle and doting. I bowed my head, gently placed a kiss on her ivory forehead. Just for a fleeting moment, without lingering, I stood up and left. I don't understand why I did that either. It must be because the weather is too hot and my mind is fuzzy. Anyway, it's just a kiss. There definitely won't be a next time. After being kissed, Liu Ruyan's small face unconsciously flushed red, but she still hadn't woken up. Only in her dream she saw her Prince Charming, bowing down to kiss her forehead. It seems a goodnight kiss really makes her sleep better. I returned to my room, locked the door, then collapsed onto the bed exhausted, turned off the lights and fell asleep instantly. 2 hours later, it was already past 1 in the morning. It started raining outside, accompanied by thunder and lightning. Liu Ruyan was fast asleep in her room, sleeping in a comfortable position with sweet dreams. Suddenly, a flash of lightning streaked across the window. Even while in a state of deep sleep, she couldn't help but be startled, frowning slightly and mumbling, then continued sleeping. Suddenly, an even louder clap of thunder struck outside. Hearing the thunder, her petite body immediately shuddered on the bed. She bolted up, her eyes wide with fear. Looking at the empty room, she felt extremely scared. She curled up in the blanket like a cocoon, her whole body trembling incessantly. Wah, Guchen, I'm so scared. Where are you? I hate thunder so much. She sobbed loudly, tears streaming down her face, crying until she didn't care about anything else. A few seconds later, she finally couldn't bear it anymore. She was already afraid of the dark, and now the room was full of thunder. More importantly, the person who promised to sleep with her, Gu Chen, was nowhere to be found. After trying to calm herself down a bit, she crawled off the bed, quickly tiptoed to open the door and dashed to the living room. Fumbling through the darkness, she finally touched my bedroom door. Then she gently turned the doorknob, her small lips trembling as she called out, Gu Chen, can you please open the door? I'm so scared. Can you stay with me for a while? Gu Chen, don't leave me alone. I'm so cold. She knocked on the door a few times, but there was still no sign that the door would open. She began to feel extremely despondent. Hearing the thunder roar, her body went limp. She clung to the door and slowly slumped to the floor, sitting flat on the floor and bursting into tears again, looking like a truly abandoned child. Suddenly, click, click, the doorknob suddenly moved. The door slowly opened from the inside. Liu Ruyan's petite figure just tumbled into the room. Immediately after, a pair of strong hands scooped her up in a princess carry. Gently lifting her up, her tiny body was enveloped in a warm embrace. Liu Ruyan, what's wrong? Why did you run to my room? Are you okay? Stop crying. I'm scared of the thunder. Having said that, her little head burrowed deeper into his chest, seeking protection. Hearing that weak, pitiful voice, my heart tightened, feeling extremely pained for her. I hurriedly carried her to the bed. Be good now. It's okay. I'm right here. Don't be afraid. I intended to let her go, so I could go close the door. But Liu Ruyan held onto me tightly and wouldn't let go, like she was holding on to something that she would never let go of for the rest of her life. Don't go. Don't go. Can you hold me tight? The girl pleaded while crying. He smiled helplessly, gently wiping away her tears. Seeing the 2 tear tracks that had been on her cheeks for a while, suddenly felt a bit of self-reproach. Nhưng chính tôi cũng không rõ cảm giác tội lỗi này từ đâu mà ra. All right, stop crying. I'll hold you to sleep, okay? Saying that, I gently wrapped my arms around her waist so we both held each other. Be good. I'm here to protect you. Liu Ruyan gradually became less afraid. It was just that her body was still trembling slightly. I pulled the blanket up to cover her more. This time, no matter how much thunder was outside, she wouldn't feel scared anymore, because she had found her peaceful and warm harbor. Gradually, under my soothing, Liu Ruyan began to drift off. The moment she couldn't resist the sleepiness, she softly uttered a coquettish sentence. Give me a kiss and don't chase me away, okay? Then she suddenly puckered her small lips, because both our faces were very close together. When she puckered her lips, the kiss landed right on my nose. Liu Ruyan originally wanted to kiss my lips, but because she was being soothed, she was so sleepy she had no strength left. What the heck? Just go to sleep if you're sleeping. Why did you have to kiss me? Are you even going to let me sleep like this? Looking at her, a doting smile unconsciously appeared on my face again. How could I bear to chase her away? Then I also intended to sleep. Who knew that after being stubborn until the very end, I would still end up sharing a bed with her. Life is truly unpredictable. It's really a lot of trouble. But it seems this isn't so bad. Her body seems even softer than a body pillow. I wrapped my arms around her slender waist, rested my chin on the top of her head, and slowly fell asleep. Early the next morning, I woke up first, opened my eyes, and shook my head to wake up, only to discover with horror that I was sprawled on the floor. 1,000 question marks appeared above my head. Weren't we clearly sleeping while holding each other last night? Why am I on the floor now? How did it come to this? I slowly sat, only then noticing that my hip hurt a little, like something had just pressed against or bumped into it. I walked to the bedside while rubbing my hip, and saw that little bunny girl, sleeping in an extremely comfortable position, limbs splayed across the bed. The sun is already high, yet she still hasn't woken up. Furthermore, after a night of tossing and turning, she was lying right at the edge of the bed. Just one more nudge and she'd definitely fall to the floor. I suddenly remembered. Liu Ruyan moves a lot in her sleep, almost every hour. She would turn over violently. I must have been kicked off the bed by her, resulting in an intimate encounter with the floor. It was truly unexpected. That such a beautiful and sophisticated CEO, when sleeping, is no different from a mischievous child. When I was kicked to the floor, I was too lazy to get up. With the spirit of wherever you fall, that's where you sleep. I just took a nap right on the floor. But thinking back, it really is a bit of a headache. With this personality of hers, who would want to marry her in the future? Who would dare share a bed anymore? It's truly a burden. But a while later, the morning sunlight shone on her ivory face, making her look even more innocent and lovely. It even makes one want to devour her. Pushing those weird thoughts aside, I turned and left the room to go buy breakfast. By the time I returned, I saw she was still sleeping in. Don't know what time it is. If you don't get up, you'll be late for work soon. And yet she only slightly turned over in bed. I finished preparing breakfast, then went back to wake her up again. Liu Ruyan, the sun is shining on your butt already. Get up quickly. I called out a few more times. She just moved her small mouth a bit and went back to sleep. Seeing that, I had to take action, grabbing her slender wrist, pulling her up and hoisting her into the air. Wake up now, you lazy pig. But as soon as I let go, her soft body collapsed like noodles, becoming one with the large bed once again. I'm starting to get annoyed. Looking at that beautiful sleeping face of hers, who would have thought such a beautiful female CEO could be so incredibly lazy, and even drooling occasionally? Truly the champion of laziness, sleeping even more soundly than a child. It seems I have to use drastic measures like spanking your butt for her to finally wake up, right? So I tilted my head to look at her face, then reached out my hand and gave her butt 2 light smacks. And Liu Ruyan, after having her butt smacked, immediately covered it with her hand, eyes still tightly shut, her small mouth saying coquettishly, "Mommy, let me sleep for 1 more minute, please. Don't smack my butt anymore." God, I'm really about to be melted by this little thing. A doting look unconsciously appeared on my face, thinking to myself she has a reason for sleeping in. Staying up late last night surely meant she didn't get good sleep. But we have to go to work now. There are already several missed calls on her phone. I took a wet washcloth to wipe her face, to help her wake up a bit. Finally, she was able to sit up in bed, though still dazed, her head spinning. Next, I went to find clothes for her to wear. I went out to the balcony, took the white lingerie and jacket that had been washed and dried yesterday, along with a pair of white cartoon panties. As I reached the bedroom door, I suddenly remembered something very important. Liu Ruyan seemingly didn't wear that all night, right? Thinking of this, I was extremely shocked. Yesterday, I only gave her a set of rabbit pajamas. To be holding each other for so long in that state, if I had known about this last night, then this little tormenting succubus would have surely kept me awake until this morning, without being able to blink an eye. Setting aside that mess of chaotic thoughts, I threw the clothes to her and turned my back to let her put them on bit by bit. She still wasn't fully awake, taking 10 minutes to finish dressing, then she slowly walked to the living room and sat down, all the while continuously yawning from sleepiness. First, I had to coax her into eating breakfast, then urged her to brush her teeth and wash her face. After this series of procedures, Liu Ruyan finally shook off her sleepiness and was mostly awake now, no longer wanting to sleep. "Wu Chen, good morning." Her small hands pressed against my face. Thinking about how he had been by her side since last night, not minding the fatigue at all, she felt extremely grateful. Grateful for what? Look at what time it is now. It's really not early anymore. The morning is almost over. So, give me a morning kiss quickly. She leaned in again, pressing herself against me. I'm speechless. I was originally going to help her put on her shoes, but my whole body suddenly stiffened. A morning kiss. Dream on. Now that you're awake, put on your shoes yourself. Liu Ruyan flailed her arms and legs on the bed like a doll. Don't be like that. A day without a morning kiss is such a lack. Gu Chen heard that silly tone and rolled his eyes. Then can you help me put on my shoes? I won't cause trouble this time. She took a step back to ask for something else, less than greater than. Her small white feet gently raised in the air, less than greater than. These feet are truly too beautiful. Less than. Even though I'm not a foot enthusiast, I couldn't help but feel stirred. Suddenly I remembered some special action movies. My throat involuntarily swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Liu Ruyan's small face also showed a faint, hard-to-notice blush. After all, this was the first time she let a boy put on shoes for her. Of course, it was mostly because of my gaze, making her feel a bit embarrassed. I couldn't let these feet keep dangling in front of me forever. I leaned down, immediately grabbing those feet, then quickly put on the small socks for her, finally slipping on the canvas shoes, tightening the laces. Only then did I breathe a sigh of relief. I was just about to stand up, when Liu Ruyan also leaned down at the same time. Thank you, Gu Chen, for everything you've done for me. Saying that, she gave a kiss. Who knew the timing would coincide so perfectly? One standing up, one leaning down, just fitting so our faces met, and our lips lightly touched. Liu Ruyan closed her eyes tightly, very focused. This time, while it was indeed a kiss on the lips, it was actually just a light touch on my smiling lip corner. By the time I came to my senses, I immediately widened my eyes and hurriedly helped her stand upright. Liu Ruyan, your drool. I had intended to say something. The girl being pushed away was still a bit immersed in that kiss. I gently shook my head to wake up. I softly wiped the corner of my mouth, the spot that had just been kissed with her drool. I realize I'm increasingly unable to handle her. But if it's only a kiss on the corner of the mouth, then my first kiss still counts as kept, right? Liu Ruyan sat on the chair looking a bit smug. Hee, if you do it again next time, I'll spank your butt. Liu Ruyan drove very fast. We soon arrived at the company. At the parking lot, after getting out of the car, I specifically glanced at my small electric bike and saw the chain had been carefully reinstalled by someone. Surely Liu Ruyan had told her secretary to have someone fix it. Entering the company, not unexpectedly, stunned whispers from colleagues hit my ears. Oh look, why is our CEO coming in with Gu Chen? Did they spend yesterday together? They couldn't have gone to a hotel already, right? Probably not to that extent, right? If they really slept together, our CEO is so petite. How could she still be walking normally like this? Honestly, I quite admire Liu Ruyan. Her personality, where she loves, she says it clearly, completely disregarding everyone's gossip. I sat at my desk, turned on the computer, and began working. The screen displayed the list of videos to be moderated. The first video was about extreme sports, a foreign man jumping into a river from a height. I added a system safety warning, then put the video into the interaction push list, since he's a professional blogger after all. Next was the account of a beautiful girl. It turned out to be Jingchuan Ryu. She truly is a real internet celebrity. Unexpectedly, I had the chance to moderate her video. She is dubbed as the world's top beauty. I've seen many top-tier beauties like this, but I still feel Liu Ruyan is somewhat more delicate and sharp. But why am I even using Liu Ruyan for comparison? I almost immediately brushed that thought away. In the next video, the female lead was dancing. Her figure was extremely graceful and fluid, so I gave this video a strong push to reach more people. Then I swiped to the next one. This one really made me freeze for a few seconds. The account name is Gu Chen's private baby. What the heck is this? I looked closely again. At the video content that the system just sent, it turned out to be the back of a boy wearing an apron, standing there busy cooking. Next, beside him was a beautiful girl with a baby face, posing as if she wanted to kiss the boy's cheek, and had taken a photo. The video content was a compilation of several photos. In the photos, sometimes puckering lips, sometimes sticking out her tongue, sometimes making a silly face to tease, or adding rabbit ears onto the boy's head. After watching it, I realized, what the heck, isn't this me? Looking back at this video, I was engrossed in making sweet and sour ribs at the time, so I had absolutely no idea. Liu Ruyan was standing behind me taking secret photos. I immediately looked up toward the CEO's office. Oh my god, that means. Liu Ruyan was in her office this whole time editing the video, then posted it on social media, and coincidentally, it was sent by the system. Of short videos directly to my computer. It's destiny. Great, you want this video to be approved? Don't even dream about it. I browsed through the old videos of this account. Almost all were candid shots she took of me, with only a few of her filming herself. This is truly hard to believe. Besides, since one is so handsome and the other so beautiful, just having the two of them in the video causes the views to skyrocket uncontrollably. Every single video gets over 100,000 likes. Just a few more posts and she'll be a total internet sensation. And she didn't even use any favors or connections. She rose to the top entirely on her own merit. Well, this is perfect. It's just your bad luck to run into me as your moderator. I'll throttle your engagement so you can't be so smug anymore. A few minutes later, in the CEO's office, Liu Ruyan, feeling exhausted after working, picked up her phone to check on the video she had just posted. How are there only 200 views? I spent so much effort editing that all afternoon. It was so much hard work. She predicted at least 200,000 likes. With this abnormal situation, with her professional eye, she could tell at a single glance that the traffic wasn't being pushed at all. What's going on? Is the moderator slacking off or messing around? Her gaze turned back to the computer, and she pressed a few keys, instantly accessing the executive-level moderation portal. This was the CEO's independent audit system, which could identify exactly which moderator was responsible for reviewing her video. It was a privilege only the CEO possessed. A few minutes later, when the results came in, she gave a soft huff, and then the corners of her mouth curled up. She grabbed her phone and strode out of the CEO's office with an imposing air. I saw someone coming out, and my eyebrows shot up instantly, because Liu Ruyan's pretty face was clouded with fury. One look and you knew she was out to settle a score with someone. I quickly lowered my head to avoid her attention, thinking to myself it couldn't be about the video, right? There's no way it's that much of a coincidence. But as fate would have it, the very thing I feared came true. Liu Ruyan suddenly turned around and stood right in front of me. What's wrong? Who made you so angry? I kept on moderating videos, trying to act nonchalant. In reality, my palms were already drenched in sweat, because once she comes over, she certainly won't leave easily. That's right, someone upset me. If I tell you who, will you help me beat them up? She lightly raised her small, adorable fist. Who is it? I asked, raising an eyebrow. It's the person who throttled my video's engagement. Don't you think they're hateful? Don't they deserve to be punished? Hearing that, my heart skipped a beat. My hands continued to pretend to type as I replied. Then they really are quite annoying. If you won't help me punish him, then I'll take matters into my own hands. Always. How do you plan to punish him? Obviously. I'll bite his ear or his mouth and never let go. After saying that, she flashed a mischievous yet adorable smile. I immediately acted completely shocked. What kind of brutal punishment is that? It's just too much to bear witness to. Then Liu Ruyan lunged forward and pulled me into a tight embrace. I hurriedly pleaded, all right. Can I just say I'm sorry? I'm honestly speechless. I totally forgot she's the CEO, the one with the ultimate authority, who can trace any video back to its moderator. Liu Ruyan held onto me tightly and wouldn't let go, looking like she had just won a grand victory. The corners of her small mouth curled up slightly. I'm so satisfied. Humph, no way, I absolutely have to punish you. Take your punishment. She went straight for my nearest ear and bit down. Then the two of us just fooled around like that for a while, spreading PDA like dog food everywhere, forcing countless people to stop and watch. It took 2 minutes before we finally stopped teasing each other. When Liu Ruyan looked up, everyone immediately scurried back to their seats to get back to work. Everyone had originally thought that the CEO had actually come today to discipline him. Who would have guessed it was just to serve up some dog food? At this rate, no one will even need lunch to feel full. Even though I had tried my best to stop Liu Ruyan from biting my ear, that action. But when I picked up a mirror to fix my hair, I discovered that she had already left a strawberry hickey on my neck. I really regret throttling her video's engagement. Otherwise, she wouldn't have tracked me down like this. I looked just like a poor little guy who'd been taken advantage of. Seriously, if you do this again, I'm going to call you a little rogue, you know? Now I have to actually start working seriously. Liu Ruyan stopped fooling around too. She pulled up a stool and sat right next to me, quietly watching as I moderated the videos. But my mind was filled with dark lines. Does this count as the CEO personally supervising an employee during all this? Liu Ruyan kept bossing me around from the side. Whenever a video came up with revealing clothes or pretty young girls flaunting themselves, she made me block the account or throttle their reach immediately. Her speed was incredibly fast, to say the least. She was both fierce and adorable. She clearly didn't want me looking at them for even a second. Tightly clutching the mouse in my hand, a little while later, I grabbed a bag of potato chips and started snacking while moderating. Liu Ruyan didn't stand on ceremony either, reaching in for a chip and popping it right into her pretty little mouth. Excuse me, boss. These are mine, you know? If you want some, why don't you get your own? Actually, the chips were provided for free by the company, but you had to go downstairs to get them. And running back and forth is such a hassle. Upon hearing that, Liu Ruyan gave me a very peculiar look. What? Isn't what's yours also mine? She spoke with such absolute conviction, but in reality there was no logic to it at all. I was left speechless. Oh well, thinking back, forget it. No point in arguing with someone acting like a child. Before long, the bag of chips was almost empty. My eyes widened as I watched the very last chip being slowly guided into her mouth. You should have left at least one piece for me, I spoke up, feeling annoyed. Liu Ruyan, who was about to put the chip in her mouth, suddenly flashed a playful smile. Sure, I still have a piece in my mouth right here. Then come and eat it from my mouth. Her small lips puckered slightly, and then she placed that potato chip lightly against her ruby-red lips, gently holding it, leaving more than half of it sticking out. It looked truly seductive. She then braced both hands on the chair, leaning in toward me, her eyes fluttering suggestively, as she softly whispered from deep in her throat, "Guchen, want it?" "I don't want it, okay?" I was finding her provocation a bit hard to handle. My instinct was to pull away, but unexpectedly she had already leaned in incredibly close. The potato chip was now almost touching the corner of my lips. If I just turned my head slightly, I could take a bite. I cursed under my breath. While Liu Ruyan continued to wink flirtatiously and adorably, her small mouth moving slightly. I was truly at a loss for words. If this kept up, I'd end up having to pull her into my arms. Fine, I'll eat it, all right? I then parted my lips and gently took a small bite of the potato chip. I only dared to bite a tiny piece, afraid that biting deeper would make me touch her lips. How should I describe the taste of the tomato-flavored chip today? It felt incredibly sweet. Seeing that I only took a tiny bite before pulling away, she looked a little disappointed, but she still seemed deeply satisfied. Immediately after, she popped the rest of the chip I had just bitten into her mouth. Slowly chewing and savoring the flavor. The chip that Guchen took a bite of tastes so wonderful. She looked as if she were drowning in sweetness. Hearing that, my lip twitched slightly. I had just been forced into an indirect kiss. What a total headache. All the colleagues nearby were looking on with envy. It was obvious lunch would be served soon, but now they were being forced to eat all this dog food. They probably wouldn't even need to go to the cafeteria later. Especially Erdan, the colleague sitting next to me. The two of us sitting there showing off our affection right in front of him. He must be suffering critical emotional damage. The main thing is he doesn't have a girlfriend, and before this, he spent all day advising me to cherish this opportunity. As a result, he's probably deeply regretting it now. Liu Ruyan watched me work, and suddenly, a bright idea popped into her head. Guchen, you've been working here for over half a month now, right? According to company regulations, you need to remember to submit a report today. An employee reflection report, specifically. I will personally review it. If you don't submit it, I won't let you go home. I was completely dumbfounded. A lowly employee has to submit a reflection report directly to the CEO. Only you could come up with something like that. Come here, come here. Show me which company regulation states that, because I've never heard of it. Liu Ruyan's eyes darted around briefly, and she nonchalantly said, "Of course you don't know yet. Because right now I'm going back to my office to add this regulation myself. The CEO will issue the notice this afternoon, and you'll know it then." With that, she turned and walked away with a triumphant air. Good grief. In this life, I just wanted to live a peaceful life as a salted fish. Why does it have to be so difficult? Mark the words of someone who's been there. Never ever fall in love with your superior. CEO Liu Ruyan, just to catch another glimpse of me, finds all sorts of bizarre excuses every single day to force me to work overtime. Today, Liu Ruyan made me write an employee reflection report again, and even threatened that I couldn't go home if I didn't submit it. Well, I'm just not going to submit it. Even if heaven itself came down, I still wouldn't do it. I turned my face away, clearly showing my dissatisfaction. Liu Ruyan just smiled without saying a word. She lightly patted my shoulder once and walked straight back to her office, looking like she had me exactly where she wanted me. Seriously, why does it always have to be me? Besides, this kind of reflection report is completely useless anyway. It seems like Liu Ruyan really couldn't find a better excuse. No, I absolutely cannot let her have her way. Less than half an hour later, I was knocking on the glass door of Liu Ruyan's office. "Come in." Liu Ruyan was engrossed in the documents on her desk and spoke without looking up, thinking it was her secretary, so she didn't pay much attention. However, after I stepped inside, I tossed an A4 sheet directly onto her desk. Only then did Liu Ruyan look up. "Oh. Guchen, did you come here to play with me?" Her eyes were instantly filled with joy, and she instinctively made a move to stand up immediately, as this was the first time I had ever entered her office on my own initiative. "What do you mean play? I'm here to submit the report. Did you forget? It only took me half an hour to finish it." Liu Ruyan took the paper, fingering it with 4 fingers while looking at me with total confidence. "You wrote the report that quickly." With that speed, she doubted if I was just going through the motions. "I'm going back now. Now that I've submitted it, I want to slip away." But Liu Ruyan called me back. "Wait, I haven't approved it yet. She began to examine the report seriously, trying to find any mistakes in it, because only then could she keep me here a little longer. I had no choice but to stand there and wait for her review. Liu Ruyan pushed a stool over toward me. Gu Chen's lip twitched. I didn't come here to sit and have tea with you. What's the point of giving me a chair? Liu Ruyan began her inspection, her eyebrows slightly furrowed. She looked very serious. Suddenly, I felt a bit confused. Is this still the same person who, yesterday, was so scared by thunder that she crawled under my blanket, and was so lazy this morning she wouldn't even get out of bed? I realized Liu Ruyan truly has two faces. While working, she shows the dignity of a leader, but the moment work is over, she immediately turns into a sweet, adorable little girl. Liu Ruyan didn't notice my gaze at all, but continued to focus on reading every single word of my report. Although the paper was filled with dense text, the paragraphing was exceptionally clear. The more she read, the more she failed to find any issues. This is actually written incredibly well. She had originally intended to use this to trouble a newcomer like me, but who would have guessed that the report I wrote was as professional as that of an employee with a decade of experience? Or you could even say, it wouldn't be an exaggeration to say I had been a group chairman before. Otherwise, it would be impossible to write such high-quality content. Liu Ruyan looked at me after reading every paragraph, utterly unable to nitpick a single fault. So what should she do now? Watching her eager attempt to find a flaw, only to fail completely. A smile curl in the corner of my lips, silently feeling smug. Of course you won't find any mistakes. Who asked me to have 36 years of life experience after all? This piece is basically just my most authentic feelings, with a little seasoning added, about being ready to devote myself entirely to the group. Any boss would be over the moon after reading words like these. So, since you've finished reading, I'll be going now. I stood up again, planning to return to my spot and continue slacking off. But Liu Ruyan suddenly called out to me from behind, her voice sounding a bit hesitant. You can't go. This report still has a major problem. I turned back to look at her, feeling like she was about to pull another stunt. Liu Ruyan racked her brain and finally came up with an excuse. This paper is too thick. Doesn't feel comfortable to touch at all. Her small, flower-like face wore a triumphant expression. I was completely speechless. It was pure nitpicking, totally ridiculous, and so pointless. I rolled my eyes in annoyance. In short, it doesn't pass my inspection. And if it doesn't pass, you're not allowed to go home. Liu Ruyan put on that haughty look again. She was truly a petty and annoying capitalist. I really wanted to teach her a proper lesson, like spanking her to make her behave. But since this was the office after all, it wouldn't be good if the secretary walked in. However, it's not impossible for you to pass, but you have to take the initiative to kiss me. Then I'll let it pass. Quite a bargain, isn't it? A radiant smile lit up her face as she lightly licked her small, pretty lips. I narrowed my eyes at her. So all those tricks from before were just because. You wanted to take advantage of me. Keep dreaming. But I still leaned in closer. Seeing me approach, Liu Ruyan suddenly felt a bit flustered. Gu Chen, could he really want to kiss me? No way, right? I must be dreaming. She opened her glistening, watery eyes wide. Well, this is perfect. Successfully shifting from the active to the passive role, she finally knew how to be shy. Her small body leaned back slightly from the tension, but since she had already hit the wall, there was nowhere left to retreat. She never in a million years expected this to happen. Seeing me start to bend down in a posture that pinned her against the wall and held her down, just thinking about it was already quite exciting. Her little face turned as red as a steam engine, as if heat were radiating from the top of her head. However, just when she thought I was going for her lips, I suddenly stood up straight and conveniently snatched something out of her coat pocket. Looking at her silly expression as she waited for a kiss, I reached out again, the corner of my mouth curling. You dummy, what were you expecting? I took the chance to give her forehead a light flick. After being flicked, she clutched her forehead from the slight sting, staring at me with wide eyes, sounding a bit aggrieved. You dared to tease me. You teased me and then just ran off. Don't you need to take responsibility? Suddenly, she remembered something. It seemed like he had just taken something from her pocket. A quick check confirmed that her pocket was now empty. Her little face looked like it was about to burst into flames. Was she even more upset now? Because the snack she had been hiding for so long had vanished into thin air. Gu Chen, give it back. That was my very last one. Humph. If you weren't going to kiss me, fine. But you even took my stuff. You meanie. Ah. My last pack of lollipops. She instinctively reached out with her tiny hands, flailing about as she tried to grab me. But I was quick on my feet and dodged her. Turning my back, I tore open the lollipop wrapper, flashed a smile, and popped it into my mouth. The flavor is actually quite good. Liu Ruyan, watching me devour her last lollipop, was instantly struck with immense grief. She truly had lost both the battle and the prize. Guchen, you are a big meanie. She kept huffing in her throat, acting as if she would never pay attention to me again. Oh, didn't you say that whatever is mine is yours? In that case, surely whatever is yours is also mine. Nothing wrong with that, right? I spread my hands, looking as innocent as can be. Who told you to eat my potato chips first, anyway? Liu Ruyan's eyes widened instantly. Good grief, what goes around comes around. Karma really came back fast, didn't it? It was truly a desperate struggle, and in the end, the one made to look like a fool was her very own self. I looked at her pouting face with puffed-up cheeks. All right, you should eat fewer of these snacks from now on. You'll get cavities easily, you know. Liu Ruyan crossed her arms over her chest and said nothing. By the looks of it, she wasn't going to be easily appeased. I stepped out the door, gently closing it behind me. Then I went back to slacking off, not giving a damn whether the report got approved or not. If it doesn't pass, I'll just steal another pack of lollipops from you. What's there to be afraid of? Alone in her office, Liu Ruyan, though she was acting tough, could only think back to those words of mine. Isn't this mine? She suddenly clutched her blushing face. Time had drifted toward midday. After finishing lunch, I returned to my desk and lay down for a nap. Slowly, I drifted into a deep sleep. At that very moment, Liu Ruyan, who had been observing from the shadows for a long while, softly stepped out of her office, tiptoeing with each careful step. Hee, Guchen is asleep. He's probably dreaming about me, she muttered to herself while gently drawing closer. Her appearance caught the attention of several colleagues who weren't napping. Seeing them, she immediately signaled for everyone to be quiet. They were forced to sit back down, waiting to witness CEO Liu's sweet display of PDA. Liu Ruyan quietly leaned over, gazing at my sleeping profile. Wow, my Guchen is just too handsome. She fell into her daily trance of infatuation again. Ever since 11th grade, she had always been obsessed with watching me sleep. That hasn't changed even to this day. And if anything, that longing has only grown more intense. She then pulled over a stool and sat down softly beside me. Resting her chin on her hand, she quietly admired my features, watching me for nearly 10 whole minutes. Colleagues witnessing this were somewhat speechless, unable to understand what the CEO was up to. Finally, she had looked her fill. She slowly reached into her handbag and took out something she had prepared long ago. Meanwhile, as I was dreaming, I suddenly felt someone gently pulling my hand. Then, something very light was being slid onto my wrist. I felt something was off, and so I gradually woke up, slowly opening my eyes. I narrowed my eyes and saw Liu Ruyan. She was sneakily putting a red string around my wrist. I had no idea what it was for. She had originally intended to slip away immediately after putting it on, but ironically, I woke up right at that moment. Liu Ruyan's hand movements suddenly froze, and so we both remained in that strange posture, staring at each other for a while. Space seemed to freeze, and time felt as if it had stopped. A moment later, she suddenly let go of my hand and stood up abruptly, intending to flee, because she didn't want to get caught and teased by me again. But I let out a soft smirk. And just as quick-handed, I snatched back the small hand she had just let go of. Liu Ruyan was startled, just like someone caught red-handed doing something bad. "Let me go!" I shook my head slightly, looking at her with a clear mind. Liu Ruyan, just what kind of game are you playing on the sly? Haha, I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't doing anything bad, so just let me go. At this moment, she only wanted to run away as fast as possible. But I only needed to exert a tiny bit of force to pull the mischievous girl right into my embrace. Holding her waist tightly from behind, locking her in place, I wasn't letting her go anywhere. Liu Ruyan's head spun slightly, feeling herself being held tightly from behind. This time, even if she wanted to run, she couldn't. I leaned down and looked into her eyes, which were filled with panic but also a certain playfulness. Then I looked down at my wrist, where a new addition had appeared, a red thread bracelet. I asked, "Why are you trying to run? What exactly is this? Unless you explain it clearly, don't even think about leaving today." Then she looked at the red thread on my wrist and pouted with a slight look of grievance. Humph. This is obviously something very precious. I had seen through everything. Her small face turned completely red. Explain yourself clearly. I pretended to raise my voice, acting a bit tough, forcing her to tell the truth. Humph. This is actually just a red thread. It's something related to our shared fate. See, I have one on my wrist too. Realizing she could no longer resist, she gradually let out a small smile while in my arms. Fate. Why would I need something like that? In truth, I had already guessed the purpose of this red thread. Gu-chen, don't you dare look down on it. This was personally acquired by my mother after a long journey to a temple. It has been consecrated by masters through chanting and mantras. It's very auspicious. This one is for me. And it can only be given once you've met the right person. That's why it's been sitting in a drawer all this time. I only just remembered it today, so I took advantage of the lunch break to put it on your wrist. So what if it's auspicious? Is it going to help me win a 10 million yuan lottery? Oh, it's not like that. This red thread is actually very powerful. The master said that if you put it on the person you like, the two of you can get married right then and there. It's very accurate, though it sounds so naive. The main thing was that she actually believed it herself. I slightly raised an eyebrow, reaching out to take the red thread off my wrist. If this thing is truly consecrated, and we end up having to marry immediately, that's big trouble. I hurriedly moved to untie it. Liu Rian immediately reached out to hold my hand tight. Don't take it off, you absolutely cannot take it off. The master said, once it's put on, it must never be removed. If you take it off on your own, and no matter how happy you two are in the future, you will be destined to part ways. So please, 10,000 times over, do not do it. Liu Ruyan's voice grew quieter and quieter. She looked so pitiful. Her large, round eyes were wide, and her eyes began to glisten with tears. Listening to her, for some reason my body gave a slight shiver, and my hands stopped moving. I was originally a young man of materialism, so naturally I don't believe in such things, but I couldn't bear to refuse Liu Ruyan's plea. With her small hands desperately clinging to my arm, I gave a soft sigh, my gaze unintentionally showing a hint of doting. Fine, it's not like wearing it will hurt me anyway. Only then did Liu Ruyan break into a sweet smile, showing off her own red thread again. Only then did I release my hand from Liu Ruyan's waist, having been completely oblivious to it until now. At this moment, Liu Ruyan still didn't want to leave. She just stood there staring at the red threads on our wrists, looking as if she were deeply lost in love. So I had to splash some cold water on her. We are people of the 21st century. We must believe in science. These are just two very ordinary strings. They don't prove anything. Liu Ruyan looked at my denial-filled face, and a sweet smile appeared on her face again. At 4 p.m., I was in a public restroom when my phone suddenly rang. I took it out to look. The number ended in 8888. It was an unfamiliar number, one I didn't recognize at all. So I tried answering. Hello? Who is this? Very soon after, a gentlewoman's voice came from the other end. Hello. Are you Gu Chen? Little Chen. The voice was as gentle as a kind mother's, but I didn't recall my mother ever using this number. So I replied, yes, this is he. Then I have the right person. You must be wondering who I am, right? Why don't you try to guess? The mature woman on the other end sounded a bit playful. I was even more confused. I have no idea. This is boring. Hee hee, you silly boy. You still can't recognize me. Let me tell you then. I am actually Liu Ruyan's mother. What? Whatever. Liu Ruyan's mother. No wonder the voice sounded somewhat similar to Liu Ruyan's from the very beginning. Now I can be certain. Surely a parent has come to find this pig of a man, to settle the score for rooting up their family's prize cabbage. But I am innocent. Clearly it was Liu Ruyan who was always daydreaming about dating me first. But listening to this lady's tone, it doesn't seem like she's angry at all. And even if she were, I could talk my way out. Mom. I mean, Auntie, is something the matter? About that. The situation between Liu Ruyan and me isn't really that complicated. I was just about to explain when I heard a gentle laugh from the other end. You certainly have a smooth tongue. No wonder Yan Yan likes you so much. Hee hee hee. My face was covered in dark lines. Just now was clearly a slip of the tongue. Did she really not notice? I know it's because my foolish daughter keeps pestering you. Actually, as parents, we don't object to Yan Yan finding a boyfriend. It's just that we can't help feeling a bit uneasy. We can't be by her side forever. It's best if someone can take care of her. Her father and I are often away on business or abroad. We don't have time to spend with her. So I hope you won't bully my Yan Yan. Hearing the auntie's gentle plea, I suddenly felt embarrassed. Please don't worry, Liu Ruyan is the one bullying me. Even though her father is still a bit against you too. Don't worry about it. I'll slowly talk him round. Little Chen, we don't want Liu Ruyan to get pregnant before marriage. After all, she's still young. That certainly hit the nail on the head. I hurriedly replied, yes. Rest assured, Auntie, I only see Liu Ruyan as a younger sister. I chatted with her mother for a long time after that, until my legs went numb before I could stand. And then I hung up. In short, it wasn't really a big deal. Going forward, I just need to keep things beyond friendship, but not quite lovers with Liu Ruyan yet. The thing that's giving me a headache is, why is it so hard to live as a salted fish in this life? After finishing work in the evening, Liu Ruyan was still tailing me, following me down like a little shadow all the way to the ground floor. Are you not going home again today? Aren't your parents worried about you? I asked in surprise while starting my electric bike, checking the chain briefly, and this time it was still intact. Liu Ruyan, being a bit mischievous, immediately hopped onto the back of the bike, smiling at me. I'm an adult and besides imperfectly capable of living on my own. My parents are very busy lately and aren't at home. I'd just be alone if I went back. I'm really afraid of the dark. I'm even too scared to go to the bathroom alone at night. So Guchen, please take me in. They'll pay for the room. She put on a pitiful face, especially since I had just spoken with her mother. Seeing her looking so small, I felt a little moved, but I still didn't agree immediately. Seeing this, Liu Ruyan thought I was going to refuse, and her small face immediately began to pout. I'll have to sleep alone in that house tonight. What if there's thunder and rain? I'll just be hiding under the covers, shivering. I'm just so pitiful. With that, acting like a true performer, she somehow produced a small handkerchief, held it to her mouth, and let out a soft whimper. After work, despite being a CEO, she didn't sit in her luxury car, but jumped on the back of my beat-up electric bike, crying and whining for me to take her home. I rolled my eyes, truly unable to win against her. All right, let's go home. Great! Guchen, I love you the most! Suddenly, Liu Ruyan hugged me tightly, her small face even nuzzling against my back. But we have to agree on 3 rules first. What 3 rules? First, no touching things at home randomly. Second, no running around in revealing clothes. Third, and most importantly, men and women are not allowed to sleep together. First 2 were barely acceptable, but at the final one, Liu Ruyan's eyes suddenly widened. Hey, why aren't we allowed to sleep together? She asked innocently. I was speechless. Didn't she have that backwards? A young man and woman at this age, sleeping together is exactly where the danger lies. No way. What's the point of being lovers if we have to sleep apart? She fidgeted behind me, clearly dissatisfied. My face darkened. Who said we were lovers? I'll sue you for slander right now. The 2 of us continued chatting like that, while making our way back home. As we passed a milk tea shop, Liu Ruyan suddenly tugged on my shirt. Guchen, I want some milk tea. Can we buy one before we go? I glanced into the shop. It was mostly filled with couples, and I definitely didn't want to go in there. What if people misunderstood us? What if Liu Ruyan insisted on sharing a drink like a wedding toast? As a steel straight man, I absolutely couldn't let that happen. I deliberately acted stern with her. No, you're being too naughty. Liu Ruyan immediately put on a flattering smiley face. Guchen, you're the best in the world. I'm being you. I'll listen to you from now on, okay? I gave a small smile. All right then. Since you're going to listen to me, we're not buying any. Milk tea is too sweet. It's bad for your health. Let's just drink plain water at home. It's much healthier. Liu Ruyan rolled her eyes. If you ever manage to find another girl to be your boyfriend, then I'll wash your hair while doing a handstand. Come on. It's still early anyway. I still shook my head. Liu Ruyan, feeling helpless, used her sharp fingernails, poked me gently in the back. My body suddenly jerked. Because she had poked the ticklish spot on my waist, I tried to dodge, but she just attacked the right side instead. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. All right, my princess, we'll go get some tea, okay? That's right. So I parked the bike in front of the tea shop, and we both walked in. We were greeted by countless admiring glances from everyone inside. Everyone felt like the 2 people who just entered were such a perfect match. Looking like leads stepped right out of a manhwa as soon as they appeared. They made all the other couples in the shop look dull by comparison. At the counter, Liu Ruyan immediately called the server. Hello. Could I get 1 super-sized mango pomelo sago? And 1 super full passion fruit tea, please. Thank you. Liu Ruyan smiled, causing the waitress to steal another glance at her. I reached for my phone to pay, but Liu Ruyan had already quickly scanned the payment code. I'm your boss, so this one is on me. Let's sit here for a bit. She gave another incredibly sweet smile. And just like that, what was meant to be a quick turned into having to stay in the shop for a while. This time, I could truly feel what it was like to be supported by a wealthy woman. Soon after, our milk teas were ready. It turned out there really were cups of such super size. We chose a seat by the window, sitting opposite each other while enjoying our drinks, while I looked out at the scenery through the glass. Suddenly, Liu Ruyan, who had been busy, sucking up pearls with great concentration, finally managed to get one, but it got stuck in the straw. Instead of letting it slide into her pretty little mouth, she pulled the straw out, holding it like a blowpipe. She squinted one eye, her playful, beautiful eyes aimed straight at my mouth. And with a soft blow, the pearl shot right out of the straw. I felt like she was about to pull another prank, and as I turned my head to say something, as luck would have it, I caught the pearl flying out, directly from Liu Ruyan's little mouth. My eyes bugged out, feeling something soft in my mouth. Damn, please tell me that wasn't some year-old phlegm. Almost by instinct, I chewed and swallowed it whole, finding the taste surprisingly sweet. Liu Ruyan's eyes went wide, shocked that her aim was so perfect. She had only meant to hit my face, but it ended up flying right into my mouth. Her small face then filled with admiration. Gu Chen. Was it good? At the same time, afraid I might be angry, she rubbed her small hands together nervously. As expected, my face immediately darkened. Good, my foot. It was annoying, but the taste of that pearl, eaten in such a way, was actually quite unique, to be honest. But there was no way it'd ever admit it. I even pretended to gag just to tease her. Seeing that I seemed fine, Liu Ruyan giggled and sucked up 2 more pearls with effort, raising her head to aim right at my mouth. Zip, zip, she fired 2 more pearls my way. Seeing that, I tilted my head slightly to dodge. The pearl ended up stuck right on my right cheek, and near the corner of my mouth too. Luckily, it didn't land in my mouth this time. Hee hee, this is so much fun. Liu Ruyan was like a child who had just discovered a new toy, bursting with joy, while my face was covered in dark lines. Are you here to drink pearls or to shoot them? Wasting food is shameful, you know. Since she wanted to play around, I definitely had to teach her a lesson, so I let out a slight smirk, dipped my straw into my own cup, sucked up several pearls, raised my cannon and blew hard, firing a rapid volley back at her. Liu Ruyan was caught completely off guard, and as the pearls struck her face, her eyes widened in shock once more. Unable to believe I've fired so many at once. You ambushed me. And my shots found their mark. The first one landed right on her forehead, next one on her nose, followed by her cheek and elsewhere. Her face was now covered in sticky residue, forcing her to reach for a tissue to wipe it off. Hee hee, let's see if you dare to mess with me again. Liu Ruyan, like a brave commander preparing for battle, slapped her hand on the table. I won't accept this. Her small mouth sucked in hard again, drawing up several pearls before firing them back. I hurriedly defended myself, and we traded shots back and forth for a while, leaving our faces and clothes covered in sticky pearl remains. But eventually, we cleaned everything up with tissues so as not to cause trouble for the shop. In the end, Liu Ruyan naturally lost, taking several hits to the forehead before finally surrendering, cradling her small face. I'm a level 108 CF gamer after all. This level of accuracy is a piece of cake. I look at her triumphantly after my victory. The scene between the two was incredibly sweet, drawing the attention of many couples in the shop. While enjoying their own drinks, they found the dog food being served to be even sweeter than the tea in their hands, so they stopped drinking and just sat silently watching the two flirt. Just when it seemed the war between the two nations was over, Liu Ruyan suddenly raised her gun again, aimed a pearl bullet already loaded in the straw, and fired. She closed her eyes and blew with all her might directly at my face. Zip! It was totally unexpected. But that pearl, slicing through the air, flew right to my mouth and went straight down my throat. The words I was about to scold her got stuck, and I immediately began to choke. I clutched my throat, my face turning bright red, feeling terrible. Initially, Liu Ruyan was still giggling, making a victory sign. But when she saw me coughing violently, she began to grow worried and hurriedly ran to my side, using her small hand to gently pat my back. Guchen, are you okay? I'm not joking anymore. Don't scare me like this. I was coughing quite hard now. After all, and it's common for them to get stuck in the throat. Thanks to her gentle pat, I recovered a bit, and the pearl in my throat was about to be swallowed. I tightly grabbed Liu Ruyan's hand, thinking it'd definitely punish her once I felt better, and chase her around. But when Liu Ruyan felt me grab her hand, she thought my throat was getting even worse, and her small face became even more panicked. She lightly licked her lips, full of guilt and regret. Can you not breathe? It'll be okay, Chen. I know mouth to mouth. Let me help you. With that, she tilted her head and quickly threw her arms around my neck and brought her small face close to mine. This was something I never could have anticipated. Was Liu Ruyan really going to give me CPR? In the next second, everyone watched us without blinking. Every single person began to anticipate the sight of the two of us kissing. Before I could even stop her, my eyes bugged out as I saw her lips pressing against mine. I knew she wasn't trying to take advantage of me, but was just genuinely worried for my safety. But I definitely didn't need this right now. The moment those soft lips touched mine, I tasted a sweetness unlike any other, an incredibly intense sweetness, and Liu Ruyan's lips were breathing deeply. It was as if by touching me, she wanted to transfer all the air from her lungs into mine. That gesture moved me slightly, but eventually I reached out and gently pushed her back. Liu Ruyan, I'm okay. Everyone is watching. Liu Ruyan was pushed back, her lips slowly and reluctantly pulling away. She had clearly been prepared to go all the way with CPR, but then I pushed her away. She quickly regained her balance and lightly licked her lips, as if reminiscing on the lingering fragrance from just now. The two of us just stared at each other. I had been so aggressive a moment ago, but now I was too embarrassed to even look her in the eye. Liu Ruyan wasn't faring much better. Biting her lips softly, her small face flushed pink. She moved one small step at a time, heading back to her seat. And as she looked back, countless eyes were still fixed on us, everyone satisfied by the romantic display we'd just put on. At this moment, my dead, my lips still felt that soft, jelly-like sensation, and it just wouldn't fade away. Even though it had only been a light touch, I could still feel the sweetness from her lips. If I had actually tasted them fully, I'm sure I would have fallen so deep I could never escape. I acted as if nothing had happened, casually drinking my tea, pretending my heart wasn't racing from what just happened, while staring out the window. Liu Ruyan, noticing my slight shyness, immediately gave his secret smile. It was just a pity that the CPR wasn't successful, and our lips had only barely brushed. But of course, this counts as progress. From the corner of the mouth to the lips, next will definitely be a full kiss, right? After finishing the tea, we got back on the electric bike to go home. This time, Liu Ruyan gently hugged my waist. Hee, Guchen, your first kiss belongs to me now. I'm so happy. She spoke as if she'd just scored a huge bargain. A look of utter helplessness appeared on my face. It was just a tiny brush on the lips. That shouldn't really count, should it? 10 minutes later, we reached the old apartment complex. I parked the bike and realized that Liu Ruyan was still hugging me from behind, nearly asleep. Her eyes were dazed as she struggled against drowsiness. I moved slightly to stand up, and Liu Ruyan snapped awake a bit. Then I reached out and took her small hand, and she became fully awake instantly, gripping my hand even tighter. Back at home, the first thing I did was start cooking dinner. I told Liu Ruyan to set the table, while I handled the kitchen. She shook her head, and picked up an apron to help me put it on, then grabbed another one for herself and said, "Gu Chen, help me put this one on too. I'll help you chop the vegetables." "No need. I can cook very quickly." "No, I can't let you keep pampering me like this. It'll just spoil me. I've decided to become the ultimate girlfriend, one who's great at her job and a master of housework." She brandished a kitchen knife in the air. That small, serious figure of hers looked like she was making a sacred vow to the heavens. I was a bit scared, so I hurriedly put the knife away. Then I immediately shot back. "Who's pampering you?" "I am not." If she was so insistent on helping, then fine, so be it. I looped the apron over her neck, then reached behind her back to tie a knot. But as I was pulling the strings to tie them, I realized that Liu Ruyan's waist was incredibly small. I finally couldn't help but blur out a compliment. "You're really thin." Hearing that, Liu Ruyan felt a bit shy, pursuing her lips and smiling softly. "Gu Chen, as long as you like it, I can even get a bit thinner." Don't talk nonsense. Who said I liked it? Besides, don't just lose weight for no reason. Being too thin isn't good for your health. My tone right now sounded just like an old father worrying about his daughter. Liu Ruyan tilted her head and smiled again. She blinked her beautiful eyes and hummed. "Actually, I really love Gu Chen's sharp-tongued but soft-hearted side." "All right, how boring." I blushed at her sweet voice and turned away to do my work. I had just taken out an onion to wash it, but Liu Ruyan gently snatched it away and started picking up the knife. I said a bit worriedly, "Be careful. Don't cut your hand." Liu Ruyan looked up slightly, winked flirtatiously, and hummed. "You're caring about me again. I won't cut my hand. That's not going to happen. I just wanted to say if you cut your hand, you're a real silly pig." She smiled gently and started preparing the other steps. Liu Ruyan curled her lips, full of confidence. "I'm not a pig, you know." Who would have thought that while Liu Ruyan was chopping the onion, she started tearing up after a while, chopping while wiping away her tears. "Hoo-hoo, the onion is too pungent. I can't even open my eyes anymore." Seeing this, I found it very funny, because her knife skills were subpar, and she put her face so close while chopping, it would be strange if she didn't cry her eyes out. She's really out of her league here. Afraid she cut her hand, I slowly reached over and took the knife from her. "Let me do it." The final dish, steamed eggs with shrimp, was quickly finished. "Get ready to eat." Liu Ruyan went to set the table, only to hear some commotion coming from the living room. She was busy for a long time. I just turned my head and saw Liu Ruyan setting out candles and turning off all the lights in the living room. It was pitch black. Liu Ruyan used a lighter to light the candles and placed them on both sides of the table. I had dark lines all over my face. Isn't this just dinner? What are you doing? Liu Ruyan looked back and smiled. Of course, there has to be romance. Ta-da, this is our candlelight dinner. Candlelight dinner? Great, you don't turn on the lights and light candles instead, and truly at a loss with you. I didn't stop her either. Perhaps this is the romance that girls always dream of, but I also found it quite refreshing. For it was just me eating and sleeping alone. Since she arrived, life has become much more colorful. I was just a bit curious where the candles came from, and then I found out. It turned out she had prepared them long ago. A few minutes later, all the dishes were on the table. Liu Ruyan happily took out her phone, filmed a clip of the candlelight dinner, and of course, she filmed me in it too, then proudly posted it directly on a short video platform. I didn't want to be on camera, but she caught a side profile of my face. After dinner, it was already 8 p.m. Liu Ruyan rubbed her small, round belly and let out a loud burp because she was full. She really is a silly girl. Who would have thought? The usually stunning and beautiful CEO would look so lazy and relaxed like this. Then I started clearing the dishes, while Liu Ruyan helped with the cleaning. While mopping the floor, maybe she felt a bit hot, so she decisively took off her coat, and her shoes too, running around all the rooms barefoot, her small mouth even humming a song. Once I finished my work, I called her, Liu Ruyan, go take a shower. You're tired, so go rest early. I can mop the rest. Understood, my dear lord. Liu Ruyan turned around, looking like an obedient little maid again, bowing slightly, her voice incredibly joyful. As soon as I heard those two words, my whole body went weak. Don't call me that. I really can't handle it. Even so, I still patted her obedient little head. Liu Ruyan then walked barefoot into the bathroom. Seeing her go in to take a shower, I keenly noticed that. Liu Ruyan, with a subtle smile at the corner of her mouth, seemed to be plotting something again. Just as she was about to close the door, I suddenly realized, wait, did you forget to bring your pajamas again? You want me to bring them in for you again, don't you? I had guessed her true intention. Then I quickly went into the room, grabbed the bunny pajamas she wore yesterday, and a piece of lingerie, and handed them to her. Liu Ruyan looked a bit reluctant seeing this, like a carefully planned little scheme had been exposed too easily. She lowered her head and rubbed her hands, not wanting to take the clothes at all, because this was her only chance to face me honestly. But I didn't care that much. I pressed them directly into her hands. Liu Ruyan pouted and stuck out her tongue, then quickly closed the door. Soon, from the bathroom, the sound of water flowing over smooth skin could be heard. After Liu Ruyan finished singing and showering, she suddenly remembered something. Oh dear, I forgot my slippers. She got dressed in the bathtub. Now that she was all clean and fair, stepping on the floor would make her dirty again. Suddenly, her eyes darted around. Actually, she didn't necessarily have to wear slippers. At this moment, a playful smile appeared on her lips again, so she called out softly toward the door. Pleading coquettishly, Gu Chen, I didn't bring my slippers in here. Could you help me just a little bit? Though her voice was very soft, I heard her crystal clear. You dummy. You go to shower without even slippers. Were you planning to fly out? I quickly grabbed the slippers, turned the bathroom doorknob. As expected, it wasn't locked. Then I stepped in cautiously, while seriously warning her, I'm forbidding you from appearing naked in front of me this time, or else I'll spank you until your butt is red as a flower. Fortunately, when I opened the door, the young woman in the tub was properly dressed. Her long, slender legs were standing there waiting, her small hands hidden in her sleeves, only revealing her pretty fingernails, her sparkling eyes blinking repeatedly. She looked incredibly adorable. But what caught my eye most were those fair, long legs, making my throat move involuntarily. I shifted my gaze away and slowly walked up to Liu Ruyan, dropping the fluffy slippers. Hurry up and put them on. But she just giggled and refused to step out. Instead, she playfully spread her arms wide. I want a piggyback ride. Can you carry me back to bed? I glared at her. Oh no, I'm covered in grease. If I touch you, you'll get dirty right away. That's right, I was just making up an excuse to avoid carrying her. Liu Ruyan stomped her feet a few times. Carry me, please, just once. With that, she sat down directly in the bathtub. If you don't carry me, I'm not getting up. When you shower later, I'll just sit here and keep you company. That fierce threat startled me. How could I shower if she stayed sitting there? In the end, faced with Liu Ruyan's wheedling and threats, I had to give in. Get up. I'll carry you, okay? I looked at her like a silly child, gazing into her bright eyes, Liu Ruyan immediately sprang up after hearing that. Then her small feet slowly stepped onto the edge of the tub, before using her soft arms to wrap tightly around my neck. With her legs locked around my waist, I reached out to support her, afraid she might fall, then walked leisurely toward the bedroom. Liu Ruyan whispered in my ear, "Thank you, Gu Chen." She took the chance to tilt her face and try to steal a kiss. By instinct, I turned my face away to avoid it. As soon as we entered the room, Liu Ruyan suddenly realized it was the wrong room, so she gently tugged at me, speaking hesitantly. Can I go to your room? Don't worry, I promise I won't do anything. I'll be super good, and I can even warm the bed for you. So when you go to sleep later, the bed will already be warm. Sleeping while hugging me is so soft and cozy, okay?" Hearing Ruyan's sweet whispers, although the proposal sounded very tempting, but having a stunning beauty like her, beside me with such soft breath, it felt like someone was tickling my heart. How could I possibly get any sleep then? Besides, Liu Ruyan tosses and turns a lot in her sleep. Unless necessary, I don't want to sleep together at all. Exhausted, I simply placed her down on the bed, and after putting the slippers on the floor for her, I turned around to go take a shower. Liu Ruyan's little pouting face looked so adorable. Suddenly, she thought of something else, and gave a sly smile. "Gu Chen, going for a shower? Do you need me to scrub your back then?" As soon as she finished, her face turned bright red. Clearly, her intentions were far from pure. She started imagining things. Somehow, she felt a surge of heat from her nose. Maybe the weather was just too hot. I looked at her bashful appearance and thought to myself, "Women really are. Do you really want to scrub my back? You clearly just desire my body." I waved my hand and went into the bathroom. A few minutes later, the sound of splashing water echoed. Liu Ruyan didn't want to just lie on the bed, so she got up and went to the bathroom door, lightly turning the doorknob. She found that it was indeed locked. When I showered, I didn't even bother to lock it. "You're a guy, why the heck are you locking it? Seriously." She turned around and saw my pile of dirty laundry at the door, so she found something to do, taking them all away, thoughtfully washing and drying them. This time, she measured the detergent perfectly. When I stepped out and saw the clothes neatly hung on the balcony, I smiled with satisfaction and returned to my room. Opening the door, the room was dark without the lights on. Suddenly, a figure appeared inside, scaring the wits out of me. Got scared, didn't you? I jumped back a step in surprise. Damn. When I finally saw the figure clearly in the dark, I realized it was Liu Ruyan. She dared to hide behind the door to ambush me. Nonsense, I wasn't scared. I'm no pushover. I'm very brave, you know. I gave her cheek a light pinch as a punishment. After turning on the light, Liu Ruyan jumped back onto the bed. After rolling around the bed to her heart's content, she saw a book by the bed and started flipping through it. "You have to be good, okay? Don't bother me while I watch TV for a bit," I reminded her. Then I went over to the computer. Liu Ruyan felt a bit disappointed, thinking to herself, "What's so great about TV? Why don't you look at me instead?" But she could only nod obediently. "Then I want to watch too." Liu Ruyan dashed off the bed and without any hesitation plopped herself down onto my lap. She wrapped her arms around my neck to watch TV together, as if normally they always did such intimate things. Feeling the softness against my thighs, along with the pure fragrance drifting by my nose, made me frown slightly. "Liu Ruyan, isn't there a chair right there? If you want to watch, don't sit on my lap." In reality, this was the first time a girl had ever sat on my lap. Both I and my little brother felt very unaccustomed to it. Then, Liu Ruyan even rubbed her bangs against my face. I refuse. I see so many girls sitting on their boyfriend's lap to watch TV. I want to try it out too. The corner of my mouth twitched. Great, trying to take advantage of me again. Whatever, she's small and cute anyway. Sitting on my lap like a piece of cotton candy. Sweet as can be. It felt like if I was hungry, I could take a bite any time. Wait, what the hell am I thinking? I really am a pervert. She wrapped her arms around and pressed her small face against me. The affection seemed to reach another level, like a little padded jacket. Feeling her soft, warm skin lightly brushing against me. Suddenly, I felt the atmosphere getting a bit heated. Despite having 36 years of life experience, including my past life, faced with a top-tier beauty who just showered, skin white as snow, smelling sweet like milk, just casually sitting on my lap like this. Sitting on my lap without any inhibition. It's hard for any normal man not to feel something. Normally, if she just leaned in for a bit, it would be fine, but Liu Ruyan just clung on and wouldn't let go. Even a gentle push didn't work. It was as if her face was glued to me. "Gu Chen, do you have a fever? Why is your face so hot?" She suddenly noticed my body temperature wasn't normal and reached out her small, fair, cool hand to touch my forehead. It would have been better if she hadn't touched me. The moment she did, things went south. My old face became even hotter, It's this hot. You definitely have a fever. We need to go to the hospital right away. Liu Ruyan became extremely worried. She started panicking, ready to call for an ambulance immediately. She didn't understand why every time she got close, Gu Chen would get a fever. I quickly grabbed her small hand and gave a forced smile. It's fine. It's just too hot. Turning on the AC will do. I picked up the AC remote, set the temperature to the lowest. Only then did I feel a bit better, and continued watching the video. Only Liu Ruyan still looked very confused. A while later, Liu Ruyan's whole body was shivering slightly, probably because the AC was too cold. Her bare feet left outside were freezing. Her toes were curled up. So she decisively rested her feet on my other thigh. So now her whole body was nestled in my arms. Oh boy. Long legs with perfect proportions were right there in front of me, even if the AC was at 17 degrees. I'm afraid it couldn't drown out the heat radiating from me. At this moment, I felt no different from a portable heating pad. Goodness, you're cold. I hurriedly turned off the AC, rubbed her back to make her feel a bit warmer. A while later, she felt better. Feeling my concern, Liu Ruyan's gaze became profound. She narrowed her eyes and smiled at me. Unexpectedly, with a mwa sound, she gave me a loud kiss on the cheek, like it was some kind of reward. It seems I'm becoming immune to this trick, just reflexively reaching up. Wipe it, but the trace remained. Gradually, Liu Ruyan, in this environment of sudden temperature changes, started to feel sleepy. After watching TV for not very long, her eyelids began to droop. I thought she would immediately go to bed, but she stubbornly stayed on my lap and refused to leave, and her arms held me even tighter, afraid she might slip off later. By now my legs were completely numb, but looking at her pretty, obedient sleeping face right beside me, I couldn't bear to disturb her, so I had to watch one more episode. Finally, I couldn't resist the sleepiness anymore. I reached out and turned off the computer screen, then gently shook Liu Ruyan, planning to help her up as she was fast asleep, to carry her back to her own bed. But then I realized my legs had completely lost all sensation. Because Liu Ruyan had sat on them for too long, my thighs were now entirely paralyzed. I grit my teeth and lightly shifted Liu Ruyan's body, although she wasn't very heavy. Who could withstand sitting like this for so long? I lifted her long legs slightly, struggling to move until I finally felt some feeling returning, barely managing to stand up. Then I used my left arm to support her legs, my right arm around her waist, step by step. With great effort, I carried her back to the arranged room and slowly laid her down. As soon as she touched the soft mattress, Liu Ruyan, deep in sleep, seemed to sense something. She absolutely refused to let go of what she was hugging. So in her daze, she once again hugged me tightly, and like a clingy little kitten, her small head nuzzled deep into my chest. Just now I was about to pry her hands off me, but unexpectedly, just as I was about to succeed, she clung onto me even tighter. Looking down, her eyes were still tightly shut, maybe because girls always lack a sense of security, so even in her dreams, she had to hug tightly. I tried again with force to remove her wrists, but she pulled her hands back, then wrapped her arms around me tighter than ever. Her little face nuzzled firmly into my chest, her smooth forehead pressed against my neck. She even mumbled in her sleep, "Don't leave, or else I'll be mad." Now I'm feeling a bit of a headache. I didn't expect her to have such strength in her sleep. She talked in her sleep with no sign of waking up, just staying in my arms, sleeping peacefully. Finally, I called her several times, but she didn't wake. Helplessly, I had no choice but to sleep along with her. Lying in bed being hugged by this top-tier CEO, I shed tears of regret. Had I known, I wouldn't have let her hug me from the start. Now look, I'm stuck with her the whole night. Perhaps in the middle of the night, she will toss and turn and automatically let go. I turned off the light and carefully tucked Liu Ruyan in. Tonight is another sleepless night. Looking at the pitch-black room, it's hard for me to refuse Liu Ruyan. At this rate, something is bound to happen sooner or later. I stayed awake until 1 a.m. Liu Ruyan gave a sudden sharp turn. She finally let go of her hold, but by then I was already exhausted and drowsy, with no strength left to return to my own room. Back in high school, waking up in the morning, I rubbed my eyes, finding myself still intact on the bed, sleeping in the same bed as Liu Ruyan, yet I wasn't kicked down to the floor. Talk about a lucky break. I turned my head to look beside me, but found Liu Ruyan was nowhere to be seen. Did she wake up before me? I was puzzled, but another possibility occurred to me. Or maybe we had been in separate rooms all along. If that's the case, then that's great. I'm still a pure guy. I suddenly felt cheered up. Recalling what happened last night, that whole business of hugging each other so tightly while sleeping might have just been an illusion. While I was still rejoicing, reality immediately doused me with cold water. Suddenly the door was pushed open slightly. A young lady, with an innocent look, appeared right before me. "Darling, you're awake." "Hee hee, I hugged you the whole night. You probably didn't sleep very well, did you? How about you sleep a bit longer? Her sweet voice tinged with playfulness. Hearing that made my heart ache immensely. So I really did hug her to sleep the whole night. At this rate, it'll become a habit sooner or later. And what's with this darling stuff? Since when am I your darling? Noticing my slight headache, Liu Ruyan gave a radiant smile. You should get up and eat now. I've already finished making breakfast for you. It's seafood oyster porridge. Eating something so nourishing first thing in the morning. She definitely has some improper intentions. But then again, this obedient side of Liu Ruyan really makes her look like a virtuous wife. I have to accept this reality. At least someone prepared breakfast for me today. I'll be out as soon as I change. And right from early morning, it is the sight of the radiant smile of a beautiful girl like a budding flower. For some reason, my mood for that entire day became so much better. I went straight to my room, intending to change out of my pajamas, but just as I had undressed halfway, I suddenly felt someone watching me from behind, and when I turned around, it was indeed Liu Ruyan, staring at me without even blinking. She was even about to take out her phone to record it. Upon having her intentions discovered, she shyly leaned against the doorframe, gently biting her thin lips, murmuring in amazement, "Gu Chen, you really do have an 8-pack." Suddenly, she felt a surge of heat about to burst from her nose, so she rushed to the living room for a tissue to stop it, looking utterly and adorably embarrassed. I chuckled to myself, serves her right. That's what you get for peeping. Now you're completely captivated by my muscular physique. I quickly changed into a white shirt for work and went to the living room to eat the breakfast she had prepared. Liu Ruyan brought a bowl of porridge over to me. I sincerely invite you to try this. I woke up at 5:30 this morning to start cooking, simmering it until now. It must be delicious. Please, try it. Then she handed me a fried dough stick. I still wasn't quite used to this, considering I was the one taking care of this sleepyhead yesterday. Yet today she woke up early to make porridge for me. And the presentation wasn't bad at all. So I took a spoonful of porridge and put it in my mouth, savoring it carefully, only to find it sweet. Way too sweet, but not a rich, delicious sweetness, but so sugary that it was impossible to swallow. I asked Liu Ruyan hesitantly, "Did you accidentally kill a sugar merchant? Did you dump the entire bag of white sugar that we just bought into this pot of porridge?" Liu Ruyan blinked her eyes, feeling a bit self-critical. Is it still not good? I thought adding more sugar would make it better, but when I tore open the bag, the sugar accidentally all spilled out. I'm so sorry. She lowered her small face, but I didn't mean to blame her. After all, she had gone through the trouble of waking up early for me, and criticizing her cooking would make me heartless. So I quickly said, "It's okay. I really like it." I don't know why, but after those words slipped out of my mouth, I began to feel a bit of regret. Was saying that too ambiguous? After finishing breakfast and cleaning up the dishes, I prepared to wash up. As soon as I reached the sink, Liu Ruyan suddenly rushed in after me. What's wrong? Do you want to go first? Then I'll let you go ahead. Instead, she grabbed the hem of my shirt. "Gu Chen, let me brush your teeth for you." I froze for a moment. What was she planning? Is she trying hard to be a virtuous wife? Anyway, a beautiful girl was making the offer, and I'm no fool to turn down a benefit. I didn't think much of it, so I nodded and opened my mouth. Liu Ruyan playfully squeezed out twice the amount of toothpaste, scrubbing my teeth back and forth with a brush, not leaving a single tiny bacterium behind. I thought she'd stop after the teeth brushing, but unexpectedly she picked up the towel. "Gu Chen, let me wash your face too." Before she even finished her sentence, she had squeezed face wash onto her hands, gently wet my face and started massaging it. I smiled, immediately lowering my head, closing my eyes, feeling those small, soft hands moving across my cheeks, with a faint scent occasionally wafting by, the perfume from Liu Ruyan. I didn't expect to wake up and enjoy a full-service treatment like this. I had temporarily forgotten that Liu Ruyan was Rex superior. After she finished rinsing my face with clean water, that fair, clean profile of mine, shining under the light, was reflected deeply in her eyes. "Gu Chen is so handsome you're glowing, just radiant and sparkling." Liu Ruyan couldn't help but poke my cheek. "Hee, not bad. Now that you're washed clean, I could take a bite." Hearing that, I suddenly broke into a cold sweat from fear, ready to bolt at any second. Next, it was Liu Ruyan's turn to wash up. She started acting spoiled and cute, wanting me to repeat the exact same process for her. Truly, there's no such thing as a free lunch. Although I was very reluctant in my heart, I had just received a favor from her, so I had no choice but to help her wash up once too. Everything was done, and as we prepared to put on our shoes and leave, Liu Ruyan stood beside me, poking my waist. "Gu Chen, can you help me put on my shoes? Can't you do it yourself? Does me putting them on for you make you walk faster or jump higher?" Although my mouth was grumbling, my body was very honest as I bent down and picked up her white shoes, gently sliding them onto her feet. Seeing me slightly hunched over meticulously putting on her shoes, Liu Ruyan felt a bit nervous, slightly curling her toes inside her silk socks, especially when my large hand gripped her ankle. She bit her lips softly, turning her blushing small face away. Finally finished with the shoes, as I was about to stand up, Liu Ruyan leaned down and gave me a soft peck on the cheek. "Thank you, Guchen." There she went again. Honestly, I had guessed that after I finished with her shoes, this little schemer would definitely try to sneak a kiss, but I didn't mind. I reached up to wipe it off quickly, and when I looked up, Liu Ruyan was looking at me with those blinking, adorable eyes while reaching out her small hand. "What do you want now?" "Naturally, I want to hold hands as we go out. I'm not holding it. When I say no, I mean no." I'm very stubborn. I turned to grab the keys and immediately opened the door to leave, originally intending to slip away quickly. But unexpectedly, the elevator hadn't arrived yet. Great, just great. Liu Ruyan leisurely walked up beside me, watching me trying to flee, and reached out her cold, small hand. With just the slightest touch, I instinctively dodged her. I was determined not to hold hands. I've really spoiled her too much these past few days. Liu Ruyan puffed out her cheeks like a little pufferfish, and fixed her eyes on mine while reaching out again. The small hand was like a stinging jellyfish, soft but carrying an electric charge, waiting for the moment the prey let its guard down, to suddenly snatch it up. Hee, I caught you. You belong to me now. I tried to struggle for a bit, but unfortunately she had me gripped tightly with both small hands, and feeling that cold, soft numbness, I finally had to compromise before her persistent clinging. Then Liu Ruyan, showing no shame at all, started to become even more aggressive, even spreading her small palm to interlock our fingers in a tight grip. This way, even if the elevator was crowded and bustling, we wouldn't easily lose each other. That doll-like face of hers showed a triumphant expression as she stuck out her tongue as if asserting her ownership. Immediately after, she occasionally gave soft kisses to the back of my hand, just like a princess kissing her prince. It was sickeningly sweet, both a bit funny and heart-fluttering. Seeing her so proud of herself, I secretly moved my other hand behind her back, slowly touching her soft waist, and gently tickled her sensitive spot. "What are you doing? That tickles. How dare you launch a sneak attack on me?" Liu Ruyan immediately dodged, but I was quick to pull her back, hugging her tightly and continuing to tickle her. She couldn't stop laughing, feeling her cute little snaggletooth. She was absolutely adorable. Seeing that scene, even someone who rarely laughs like me couldn't help but burst into laughter. And just then, the elevator doors opened, packed with corporate slaves rushing to work who happened to witness this sweet scene early in the morning. They were stuffed with a belly full of sugary dog food, and the entire crowded elevator was almost nauseated enough to vomit their breakfast. I pulled the little schemer inside quickly, and she finally behaved herself a bit. Most people in the elevator were men, so I moved Liu Ruyan to the very back, shielding her in the corner while remaining silent. Liu Ruyan held my hand and looked at me, as if I were a Jin Yue guarding our love. She was practically crazed with happiness, even though all of this was just her sweet imagination. And so, the two of us played around the whole way until we reached the company. Even at the company gates, Liu Ruyan still insisted on holding hands, so I helplessly let her lead me by the hand all the way to the workspace. After making countless colleagues jealous, she finally let go, gave a sweet smile, and went to her office. I had just sat down when my colleague Li Xiang, sitting next to me, kept staring at me. Old Li's gaze felt really strange. "What are you looking at? Could he be gay?" Li Xiang immediately gave a bright, friendly smile. "You and our CEO are progressing quite well, aren't you? Pass on your dating secrets to me, so I can go try to woo a female CEO later." I rolled my eyes. "I really don't have any secrets. It's mostly just personal charm." At this moment, a few more colleagues gathered around to offer kind words, asking me to put in a good word for them with the CEO. I just found it dull. Clearly, I'm just like everyone else. Just a very ordinary employee. I'm just a tiny bit more handsome, that's all. Besides that, I'm truly good for nothing. I turned on the computer and started reviewing today's videos, making a cup of coffee and tearing open a bag of chips, feeling absolutely delighted. Suddenly, Li Xiang struck up a conversation with me again. "Old Gu, there's a big event happening at the company today. Did you know?" "What big event?" I asked curiously while munching on chips. "You really don't know? The CEO sleeps next to you every day and didn't say anything. He looks serious." "Stop joking. She really didn't tell me. Actually, today is a day for the partnership signing between Ayun Group and our company. Word has it that the CEO of Ayun Group will be showing up at our office today." Ayun Group? I chewed my chips while thinking for a moment, finally remembering who that group belonged to. The chairman's surname is Ma, along with Liu Rian's father's internet company. They are known as the Two Giants. A collaboration between two giants is naturally a huge deal. Once the contract is successfully signed, they might even hold a press conference. In the future, I know very well that the growth potential of this company is immense, but for now it has nothing to do with me. I heard the current person in charge of a Yoon group seems to be a top-tier female CEO as well. He suddenly gave a cunning smile. What are you laughing at? I was a bit confused. With your natural constitution, it attracts wealthy women. I believe the female CEO will definitely be attracted to you too. You better watch out. I rolled my eyes, finding it dull and lacking any interest, so I focused back on reviewing videos. Another hour passed, and the company entrance began to buzz with excitement. Suddenly, a woman walked in, wearing a seductive and glamorous red outfit, followed by 4 bodyguards. They say the more vibrant the outfit color, the more confident and proud the person is. The woman with voluminous curly hair and her head held high. Since the meeting room was deep inside the company, the work area was a mandatory path to pass through. Her appearance made all the employees look up at once. The aura and style of that woman truly commanded admiration. To think she is the female chairwoman of a young group, one of China's most powerful e-commerce conglomerates. She's so domineering, way too cool. I really wonder what kind of man could possibly be her match, or even catch her eye. The woman in red, expressionless, strode straight past on her high heels. Clearly attracting so many stares was entirely within her expectations. Almost everyone turned to take a look at her, but I, sitting in the very first row, remained absorbed in reviewing videos without turning my head once. This starkly contrasting scene actually caught the corner of her eye. Her gaze gradually swept over. Upon realizing this kid was quite handsome, a hint of intrigue flashed in her eyes. However, she didn't stop. After all, she was here to discuss a partnership. As she passed in front of me, I only slightly raised my head for a glance, but it was just a fleeting look. I didn't care at all. Just as I was about to lower my head, I saw the CEO's office opposite me, and Liu Rian stepped out of the door, followed by her secretary, seemingly heading toward the meeting room as well. Since the other party was a major corporation, Liu Rian, facing this situation for the first time, was still quite nervous. But when she spotted me from the corner of her eye, watching her intently, she immediately straightened her collar, licked her lips slightly, and gave me an intense, flirtatious wink, sending 2 loving hearts my way. That electric spark seemed to say, "Gu Chen, I'm going to work. You be a good boy." I received that spark, and for a moment, caught off guard, my whole body suddenly went weak. This little vixen tormenting me like this. Afterward, things got busy in the chairman's meeting room. Mid- and high-level leaders from across the company were summoned there, and the meeting dragged on until noon. Sitting at my desk, I felt the need to use the restroom from too much coffee, so I went to the bathroom to take care of business. During that time, I suddenly felt a bit worried. Liu Ruyun is still so young, yet she has to face a major event like signing with an industry giant. I wonder if it will go smoothly. Liu Nuian is still so young. It was just a fleeting thought, but then I suddenly realized, why am I starting to actively care about Liu Ruyun? This isn't right at all. I can't let this continue. Wouldn't that mean I've fallen into this beautiful CEO's trap? I smile and push the door open to leave, ending to get back to work. By now, the contract was signed and the meeting had ended. The woman in red was the first to walk out, and having drunk quite a lot of water, she also headed to the restroom on this floor to take care of her personal needs, and happened to catch me washing my hands preparing to leave. Instantly, on that gorgeous face, a radiant smile appeared. Little brother, please like, comment, and follow. The next episode will be much more exciting. Back in high school, the school belle confessed to me, but I rejected her flatly in front of everyone. I ruffled her hair and showed my distaste. You're too small like this. I like them a bit bigger. I just saw the school belle crying like a river then. And so, I took a bottle of AD milk from my pocket and gave it to her. I heard drinking this can make you grow up in a flash. Hearing that, the belle angrily pointed at my nose and said, "Gu Chen, just you wait. When I grow up, I'll really show you something." I smiled and replied, "No need to be polite." Unexpectedly, many years later, that school belle suddenly appeared, becoming the female CEO of our company. I stood at the restroom door having just washed my hands, and when I turned around, I saw the female CEO of a young group right behind me. I was startled, clutching my heart and rolling my eyes. What the heck? How could she possibly walk in high heels without making a single sound? Seeing the young man in front of her look startled, the woman couldn't help but give a radiant smile but said nothing, and I did the same, not saying a word. Other than Liu Ruyan, I didn't want any kind of relationship with any other beautiful woman, even though the woman before me was dressed incredibly seductively and possessed a perfect figure. I truly had no desire to take a second look. Perhaps because I've been with Liu Ruyan for so long, I leaned toward the small, pretty, and adorable type. In short, Liu Ruyan would still be more beautiful than her even without clothes. As I took 2 steps intending to slip past her, the woman in front of me shifted to the same side. Thinking it was a coincidence, I stepped right to avoid her, but unexpectedly she followed my movement. Confused, I looked up and stepped left, and the result was that this woman kept tailing my every step. The only thing missing between us now was a basketball. In less than 2 minutes, we performed a crossover dribble scene in the restroom, a classic man-to-man defense scenario. I didn't understand why our sync frequency was so high, so I just stopped completely to let her go first, only for her to lightly click her high heels and slowly approach, pinning me down, as her slender arms gradually reached out, clearly intending to corner me against the wall for a cabedon. It was only then that I realized I was likely about to be teased by this woman. Bright red lips parted slightly. "Little brother, why do you keep avoiding me? You're so adorable. I really like you, you know." "My name is Mary. Little brother, what's your name?" Her eyes were full of amusement, like she was observing a delicious prey. Right after that, she slowly raised her hand to lightly pinch my chin, pressing me completely against the wall in a dominant way. Sorry, I have work to do. Even though this woman was very beautiful, there wasn't a single ripple in my heart. My gaze remained calm, and my voice was expressionless. "Oh, how interesting." Hearing this, Mary widened her eyes slightly, not expecting someone to dare reject her flirtation like this. "So far, you're the first one this handsome. Why bother staying? Why not quit and join my company? The benefits at my place are much better than here." Then she thought for a moment and said bluntly, "Humph. I'll be direct. I have quite a crush on you. I bet you don't have a girlfriend yet, right? How about becoming my toy boy? I'll take care of you." Her voice carried a lethal charm. Any ordinary person would probably find it hard to refuse, but I didn't agree at all, my expression remaining as cold as usual. It's just that I never imagined, in a million years, that Li Xiang's words would be so prophetic. I seem to truly have some kind of constitution that specifically attracts sugar mommies. Why is it so hard to just be a salted fish? Why on earth beautiful female CEOs always come looking to sponsor me? It's really giving me a headache. I really wish I could transfer this constitution to fans following me, so everyone can help share this burden of mine. Mary originally thought she had the win in the bag. Seeing me remain so indifferent, she suddenly felt a bit flustered for a moment. She then leaned her beautiful face even closer. "Looking at this expression of yours, is it that you don't like me? Or are you just being too shy?" This was her first time hitting on a young guy like this, yet she couldn't sway him at all. Perhaps what you can't have is always the most attractive. Now she wanted even more to taste. What kind of unique flavor this cold young man ultimately had. I struggled, wanting to make a quick escape, only to have her block every possible exit. In my desperation, I decided, if she dared to come any closer, I would shove her away with all my might. Yeah, I was set on having a showdown with her like that. However, just as Mary was about to make a move on me, at a corner just outside the restroom, there came a sudden clear sound of coughing. Mary was slightly startled with fright. Cough, it was from a young girl, and in that childlike voice, there was the authority of a leader. My good timing has been ruined. She turned her head to look, and sure enough, it was Liu Ruyan, who was currently standing with her arms crossed, her small face full of sternness, like someone whose hard-earned prey had suddenly been snatched away. She looked extremely unhappy. Immediately after, she walked over composedly. Although she wasn't wearing high heels, her aura far surpassed people like Mary. Seeing her arrive, I finally breathed a sigh of relief. Looking at her fierce yet adorable appearance, I felt like she could stomp on me at any moment. "How dare you go fooling around with someone else? Even though this wasn't my fault at all. Ma Zong, he is my man," Liu Ruyan said with a respectful tone, but at the same time it sounded like an assertion of ownership. Upon hearing that, Mary immediately let go of me. Then she dusted off her clothes, pretending as if nothing had happened just now. Fortunately, the person who saw was Liu Ruyan. Mary felt truly lucky, because if people with bad intentions saw this, took pictures and posted them online, there would definitely be tons of malicious rumors. After all, she is the female CEO of a listed company. Any external scandal would have a very bad impact on the group. "I was just asking him for directions," she explained awkwardly. And finally, she secretly pulled out a business card, turned her back to Liu Ruyan so she couldn't see, and slipped it into my pocket. "This is my business card, and this number is also my WeChat account. You're always welcome to visit my company." After saying that, she didn't even bother going into the restroom and just turned to leave. Don't you dare say see you again. Fine. Liu Ruyan responded stiffly. In reality, she had been using her gaze to drive the woman away. If it wasn't because earlier, they had politely signed a contract, and as she wasn't a fellow female CEO, Liu Ruyan would have flown into a rage long ago. Just like that, Liu Ruyan watched her leave with a cold gaze, then shifted her eyes toward me. Almost in an instant, the change happened. A hint of tenderness appeared in her eyes. Ah, the scent of jealousy is so strong. I muttered to myself. I didn't expect her to catch me being pinned against the wall. Jealousy jar has truly tipped over this time. She's definitely jealous. Liu Ruyan slowly approached. I didn't dare move, let alone run. Then those resentful eyes never left me. When she stood before me, she held out her palm. Hand what over? I was a bit confused, not understanding what was going on for a moment. While Liu Ruyan thought I wanted to keep that thing, so she pouted, looking both fierce and adorable. Business card. Do you actually want to keep it? Seriously, her attitude did a full 360-degree turn, making it impossible to adapt. I looked at that fair palm, leaned down slightly, and suddenly found it quite hilarious. So I took the business card from my pocket and placed it in her hand. Liu Ruyan took it and gave it a glance, then proceeded to destroy it immediately. 1 piece, 2 pieces, 3 pieces, until it was shredded beyond repair. This jealousy is truly intense. It's giving me a real toothache. Gu Chen, remember this well for me. From now on, you must never accept things from strange women, or else I will. Then she dropped her small hand. Her little face gradually relaxed, but that warning made me unable to help but smirk. Or else what will you do? Liu Ruyan's appearance right now is actually very funny. It's like she clearly can't do anything to me, but still wants to keep me under her thumb. Or else I'll be really mad. She thought for a long time before standing on her tiptoes, calling out in a spoiled voice. Her lovely eyebrows furrowed slightly. Seeing her like that, I finally burst out laughing in an improper way. Liu Ruyan immediately bit her lip, her face full of defiance. What are you laughing at? I just remembered my cousin having a baby. Ha ha ha. This trick sounds all too familiar, seeing me treat her so dismissively. She angrily put her hands on her hips, looking just like a wife lecturing her husband for playing around. Humph. I saw you didn't even try to resist just now. Could it be you like women like her? I have to admit, a girl's imagination is truly rich. That's called being a gentleman. I just didn't want to bicker with a woman. It seems you really like being wall-slammed by her, huh? Is that right? Answer me. She stepped a bit closer again, and gave my chest a light shove. What is the meaning of this? I answered helplessly. No way. I was just... Since you like it so much, then let me wall-slam you to satisfy you. Are you ready? I was just about to explain, when Liu Ruyan suddenly cut me off. My face went dark. I was left speechless. What the heck? She didn't even give me a chance to protest. Liu Ruyan's small hand pressed straight against the wall right next to my face. Her tiny figure drew even closer, pinning me into the corner in a perfect wall slam pose. I looked down at her serious expression, and I think I understand now. Liu Ruyan was actually imitating that woman and wall slamming me. Liu Ruyan, stop messing around. I don't like this at all. I narrowed my eyes, intending to gently pat her little head. Liar, you're clearly blushing right now. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. It's only been a short while. Besides, Liu Ruyan is so short. How could I blush from being wall-slammed by her? She's definitely just making it up, mainly to prove that she's not inferior to that other woman. Ha ha ha, I burst out laughing again. Laughing so hard I almost cried. Who on earth tries to wall-slam someone taller than them? This scene looks absolutely hilarious. Liu Ruyan was now trying her best to stand on her tiptoes, attempting to make her tiny stature look a bit taller, but it didn't help much. She still had to look up at me as before. I am definitely not blushing. Facing the young beauty's tricks, I was also very stubborn. Hearing that, Liu Ruyan brought her small nose close, staring straight into my eyes, pressing her hands down with all her might. Her entire body was practically leaning on me. Then blush for me. If you don't blush, I won't let you go anywhere. Those playful words hit me straight in the heart. Heavens, she's so adorable. It's crazily sweet. It's the first time I've seen someone demand another person's heart race and face blush. I'm seeing it for the first time too. One look, and it's obvious Liu Ruyan has never been in love before. She doesn't even know how to wall slam, just leaning her whole body against me. What kind of wall slam is this? This is clearly just thick-skinned clinging. Even though she's never loved anyone, today is also the first time. She's being extremely serious about wall slamming me, so she's also very flustered, her little face flushing like 2 peaches. Then she exerted herself again, trying to stand on tiptoes to complete the close-up pose. The most important step is the dominant kiss. However, at this very moment, I realized what Liu Ruyan was planning to do, so I also stood on my tiptoes, trying to keep her from falling over. Oh, she was completely puzzled. Why she couldn't reach no matter how much she tried to kiss. The height difference clearly wasn't that much, yet now she could only reach my chin. Liu Ruyan's little head looked down and saw me standing on my tiptoes, cheating, and immediately her face showed frustration. I hate this. Why don't you have any feeling at all? She muttered to herself in complaint. Could it be this fairy's charm isn't strong enough? Saying there's no feeling is actually a lie. Because with the young girl pressed against me now, everywhere except my face is burning hot. I felt that Liu Ruyan was a bit heartbroken and sad, so I intentionally lowered my voice, keeping my tone deep and masculine. You don't even know how to wall slam. Next, let me teach you. Huh, what? Liu Ruyan seemed to have heard something unbelievable, thinking she had misheard, but before she could even react, I just gave a small smile, curling my lips charmingly, and with a bit of force, reached out to wrap my arm around her waist, grabbed her small hands and spun around, reversing it and pinning her against the wall. This sudden change made her let out a sweet cry. Following that, her small back was gently pressed against the wall by me. One large hand firmly held her two small wrists, pinning them above her head, making it look like she was being tied up. The hand that was on her waist pulled away and braced itself right next to her small head. Finally, I looked down at her with a captivating gaze. Have you learned yet? This is how you actually make someone blush. Just as expected, when Liu Ruyan met my glowing gaze, she blushed completely. At this rate, she'll be fully cooked. White teeth lightly bit her lip, looking exactly like someone saying "don't" in a spoiled way. Liu Ruyan remained silent at this moment. It seemed as though even the slightest sound would shatter this sweet atmosphere. She wanted to keep things exactly like this forever. Her hands held tightly against the wall didn't hurt at all, though she didn't know where this shyness came from. She felt that this was also quite wonderful, her trembling eyes revealing her infatuation. Any normal man certainly wouldn't be able to resist taking a bite, or even biting down and not letting go. Liu Ruyan saw that I had absolutely no intention of letting go. On the contrary, my handsome face was drawn closer and closer, looking like I truly couldn't hold back and was about to kiss her. At this moment, her heart felt like it was about to jump out of her chest, calm on the outside but screaming on the inside. What should I do? What should I do now? He's so handsome, I haven't prepared myself mentally yet. Whatever, just go for it. If I don't enter hell, then who will? Liu Ruyan also tried to stand on her tiptoes, just as I was about to kiss her. The distance between our lips was only about 3.5 millimeters. Liu Ruyan unexpectedly burst into giggles. It tickles so much. Help me, help me. So annoying. Didn't you say you were going to kiss me? Stop tickling me. I don't need the kiss anymore, okay? No way. I pinned your hands against the wall, precisely so I could tickle you. Otherwise, why would I go to all this effort? Did you really think I wanted to kiss her? Is this something a straight guy would do? One hand holding her, watching her struggle, while the other hand tickled the soft part of her waist. Just one word, total bliss. No matter how Liu Ruyan struggled or shook her head, I refused to let go, finally tickling her until she shed tears. Only then did I release her. Bullying me again, Gu Chen is so annoying. She said that, but she threw herself into my arms, sobbing softly, using her soft little fists to lightly punch my stomach. I didn't even bother to dodge. Whatever, let her punch all she wants. A man's true strength is to use this belly to make her hands hurt. In the end, Liu Ruyan still clung to me dependently. Don't run, let me hug you for a moment, okay? I reached out to pat her little head. That obedient look made my heart feel incredibly warm. The two were teasing each other, completely unaware that at the corner of the stairs at the end of the hallway, a woman was standing there peeking, witnessing the two of them hugging and whispering, truly shocked and full of admiration. That person was Mary. Actually, she hadn't left this whole time, hiding there. Originally thinking Gu Chen was just an employee who would be bullied by the boss, but who knew their relationship was so intimate. This was also the first time she saw the female CEO of this company show such a small and weak side. And that guy is truly special, both warm and capable of being dominant, truly a lady killer. So no go lung not now. She called her bodyguard and also left. It seems that sponsoring Gu Chen is absolutely hopeless because he already has someone sponsoring him, but that was only her own assumption. The two were being affectionate at the sink area. Many employees were also using the restroom at this time, so everyone caught a glimpse of this scene. getting a free serving of sweet PDA even on a bathroom break. I quickly pulled away from her, but Liu Ruyan, so soft and fragrant, dove back in to hug me once more. By the way, how did the contract signing go? I casually asked. Liu Ruyan thought for a moment and then nodded. That woman is very difficult and arrogant. To sign the contract, I had to give in to her every whim, but I didn't expect that she would dare lay a hand on my Guchen. If this can be tolerated, then I can't tolerate it anymore. If she truly dares to take my Guchen away, I will absolutely not let her off easily. Even if I have to sell my father's company to borrow money, I must win you back at all costs. She clenched her rosy hands again. This food-guarding look is truly adorable. I was a bit startled by her cute appearance. Truly a once-in-a-millennium filial daughter. I patted her little head again, while gently tugging her high ponytail. Hey, handsome! Please like, comment, and follow. The next episode will be much more dramatic. Back in high school, the school belle confessed to me, and I rejected her in front of everyone. I patted her head while showing my disdain. Yours is too small. I like them bigger. The belle immediately burst into loud crying. So, I took an AD milk box out of my pocket and gave it to her. I heard drinking this can help you grow up faster. After hearing that, the belle angrily pointed at my nose and said, Guchen, just you wait. Wait until I grow up. I'll show you. I smiled and said no need to be polite. Who would have thought that years later, the school belle from back then would suddenly become our company's female CEO? The female CEO returned from the restroom. I went back to my workstation. Liu Ruyan also went into her office. I thought things could be peaceful for a while. But things weren't as simple as I thought. After finishing lunch, I didn't feel sleepy at all. I lay on my chair, leisurely scrolling through short videos. Suddenly, the opposite office door opened. An incredibly beautiful young woman stealthily poked her head out of the doorway, playfully winking her beautiful eyes twice. In that moment, I felt like I'd been struck by a love spell. Not knowing what trick she was planning to pull next, her small hands twisting and hiding behind her back. Since it was the lunch break, as the boss, of course she had to be mindful of her employees' feelings, so she tiptoed so quietly that her footsteps were silent. Watching the beautiful CEO approach, I instinctively intended to dodge away or pretend to get water, but it was already too late. Liu Ruyan tiptoed right up to me, blocking my exit, grinning broadly, revealing her snaggletooth. Miss, what are you planning to do? Try to guess why I'm looking for you. Is it to ask for your help with bargain hunting? Finding you definitely means something good's happening. She pointed her index finger again, her nails lightly scratching the desk surface, her expression looking as if she had something to say, while inwardly feeling a bit delighted. What good thing? If you're here, then surely nothing good will happen. I just had a feeling she was definitely about to make some unreasonable demand again. Then Liu Ruyan leaned down slightly, placing her hands below her knees, her small face full of anticipation and supplication. Well, my computer is kind of broken. Can you fix it for me? I got a few goosebumps from her cheesiness, so it was about this. Couldn't you have said it sooner? Because no matter what, I won't agree. Why is the computer broken? And I don't know how to fix it either. Just find someone from the IT department to look at it. I mimicked her pouting tone in response. Liu Ruyan immediately felt cringed out by my words too. Her lips twitched slightly before she laughed. Don't copy me. Only I am allowed to act cute with you. I immediately pretended to be about to vomit. Who wants you to act cute with me? I'm definitely not interested. Oh my god, the IT people can't even fix it. That's why I want the person I love to fix it for me. I believe in the power of love. It will surely restore my computer to look like new. Please help me, will you? Heavens, it's getting more and more cheesy. Hey beauty, do you think I'm that free? I spread my hands out, gesturing that I was about to start working, though it's true I do know how to fix computers, but I'm not professional at all.